The problem though is that it's just like punchy across the board, which
Right.
it's not. It's weird because these are very bright cartoony games, right? So like at in some sense, like I actually like how that looks to a degree, but you're also not really getting the true benefits of an HDR output. So it's just kind of a lackluster implementation in most of these games. But actually, we're going to get to an interesting one next. And we've already talked about some of the biggest improvements so far, but now that I think about it, this next one is one that is arguably among the largest, I would say, just given like all the changes that they've made here. It's Splatoon 3, right?
Yes, there's some really exciting improvements here, headlined by some image quality changes. So we're going from on the original Switch, we're going from a dynamic 1080p resolution to a dynamic 4K resolution on Switch 2 in docked mode. So that's a big improvement. It's a full 4K image, again, 4 times 300 pixels, and it does seem to run at 2160p a large majority of the time.
A lot.
Yeah, including this shot where Switch 1 is at 864p, Switch 2 is at 2160p. So that's a gigantic multiple in terms of resolution, like 5-6 times the resolution.
Exactly. It's huge.
Yeah. The HUD is interesting here. It's a mix of 1080p and 4K. There are some bitmaps in there, but also some like vectorized elements. So those scale nicely. Like the text here scales nicely. So that image quality improvement is huge. Again, there's no AA here of any kind, but it does hold up very well in a 4K set. You get that perfect pixel match. Performance is interesting here, and I think this is part of what you're indicating with your earlier comments, because the original game ran its city sections, its city hub sections at 30 FPS. So maybe because because of CPU demands, or maybe because these areas are a little bit more intense graphically, a little bit more complex. They want to more freedom to design them.
This has been consistent across the whole series, by the way.
Right.
Even going back to the Wii U game, like the city areas, all the hub stuff that you're always spending time in between matches and the such, you're always at 30.
Yes. Yeah. So here on Switch 2, those areas run at a full 60 FPS, and the rest of the game, I played some matches, it runs at a full 60 FPS as well, so that's a nice upgrade. Then there's portable mode, which is a little bit less exciting, I think only because Splatoon 3 already looked and played so well on Switch 1, because it was like 720p 60, some dynamic res in there, but generally looked terrific, played terrific. That's how I played the majority of my time in Splatoon 3, certainly. And here, it's basically a locked 1080p from what I can tell, and obviously 60 FPS. And of course, that change in the city area also applies to portable mode. So you get that 60 FPS update throughout the game, you know, a reasonable upgrade in portable mode, but I kind of think that, you know, they've got a 1080p panel. There's only so much they can do to upgrade this game. So 1080p, 60 FPS, I think that's a pretty good level of performance. And presumably, hopefully, you get a little bit longer battery life than if they had like super sampled it or something. So that's probably a good choice there.
I will say, though, thinking about it, in portable mode, I still kind of prefer the way the game looks on the Switch OLED. Because you get the better contrast of the OLED screen, and you don't get the response time blur of the Switch 2 screen. So it just looked, and because in this game you're constantly rotating the camera a lot, so there's plenty of blur that occurs. Yeah. So it's kind of better on the Switch OLED, but only in that portable mode. Everything else docked, which is how I normally would play anyway, feels like a gigantic improvement. Like you said, often 5 to 6 times the pixel count. It's really, really impressive all around, and a big upgrade that almost, so like it's wild because in a way, like Splatoon 2 kind of felt like an adaptation of Splatoon 1 in a way,
right,
from the Wii U, but then like as a full price game. I mean, there was new stuff in it, but Splatoon 3, this upgrade genuinely feels like it could have been like a paid remaster, in the same way that like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was, you know, a re-release of Mario Kart 8, right?
Right.
It feels like that, but maybe even a larger jump in some ways. Next up, though, we are not done with Mazzer, as they call him in the UK, Super Mario. It's time for Super Mario 3D World. And this is now the third generation of Super Mario 3D World. We have gone from the Wii U to the Nintendo Switch, where it already got a pretty significant upgrade from 720p 60 in, well, there was no docked, you know, in Wii U mode, up to 1080p 60 in docked on the Switch 1. But there was a big caveat for this game. It looked great on Switch 1, but then they added a whole new section area, sort of like a separate game, right? Where similar to what I actually covered last time with Sonic and Shadow Generations, where you had Shadow Generations, this game has Bowser's Fury, which is almost like its own standalone game. It's a bit short, but it's a very ambitious and interesting take on the 3D Mario formula. Problem is, if you played it in portable mode, it ran at 30 frames per second. And even in docked mode, it was not 100% stable 60, so it was clearly pushing the Switch pretty hard. So I was very excited to see what we would get in the Switch 2, and the results are pretty darn impressive, wouldn't you say?
That's a very good outline of the game's Switch 1 performance for sure. But yeah, I think that in general here, dock mode, starting out with dock mode in 3D World, right? We're going from a dynamic 1080p on Switch 1 to something that looks like 1800p, possibly with dynamic res, I'm not quite sure, but 1800p-ish is where I'm counting in here on Switch 2, which does look a lot better. It's a pretty soft game. There's a lot of depth of field and stuff like that, but it does look pretty good here. In terms of the UI presentation, some is vector, some is bitmap, so it scales, it's like 50-50 basically in terms of scaling well to this high resolution. And then performance is a locked 60 FPS here as it was before. Portable mode is generally 720p 60 on Switch 1 and 1080p 60 on Switch 2, again in this 3D World content. And of course, the primary limitation there probably is not the Switch 2's GPU, just the resolution at which they can deliver content on Switch 2, which is, not quite scaling with that increase in GPU grind, although that's perfectly fine.
I would also interject one thing. Super Mario 3D World is actually a fairly slow Mario game, and as such, more so than some of the other games, this one actually does look pretty good on the Switch 2 LCD, I would say. It doesn't move fast enough to the point where the blur becomes an issue, essentially. So it's still pretty attractive on that hardware. I do like playing it in portable mode. But obviously, Bowser's Fury, I think, is the more interesting part, right?
Bowser's Fury is definitely more interesting. So in dock mode, even, this was quite a lot harder on the hardware. So it was targeting 60 FPS here, but it was often running at or around 720p, those kind of resolutions I counted a lot in my analysis here. On Switch 2, it goes to a dynamic 1800p, but there is more dynamic res here in the mix that is counting shots around 1656 moments, but it is counting in that kind of 1800p slightly low range very often here. I also did notice some differences in shutter mask resolution, some improvements in shutter mask resolution on Switch 2, which I think you can see in this shadow here. And then, like John mentioned, the game could dip a little bit during those Bowser's Fury segments where Bowser is raining down hellfire and all this nonsense. And on Switch 2, that is running at 60 FPS locked. And then handheld mode is even more interesting. So this ran at 720p, kind of like its dock mode counterpart on Switch 1, but it ran at just 30 FPS. So here on Switch 2, we go from 720p to 1080p and 30 FPS to 60 FPS. So it runs a lot better. It's a lot more satisfying in handheld mode on Switch 2. It's a really, really big improvement. In this mode in particular, it's a huge improvement. And yeah, it looks substantially better, plays a lot better. That mode in particular is a real standout on Switch 2 that basically eliminates all the compromises we originally saw in the game on the original Switch 2.
Exactly. And I would say in dock mode, image quality is very much on par with Knack 2 on the PlayStation 4 Professional. So for all you Knack 2 fans out there, you know what to do. All right. Moving on. There's just two more games to discuss here. And these are perhaps a little bit less ambitious.
Yes.
It's Captain Todd, Treasure Tracker, as I like to say, and New Super Mario Brothers U.
That's correct.
And so let's see. So New Super Mario Brothers. Well, actually, let's start with Captain Todd because he is a captain after all. Okay. This one, man, I haven't played this for a long time, and I haven't sampled this at all on the Switch 2 yet. So this one is entirely for you.
Yes, Captain Toad, a little odd here. So dock mode will run from 1080p to 1440p, which is not that much of an improvement. It does look better, but it also weirdly looks a little bit smoother and possibly even a little bit softer. And I think what they're doing here is they are actually applying some post-process anti-aliasing to the image as well. That's what it appears to be here for me. So you're getting a higher resolution image that is smoother with less obvious aliasing artifacts in Switch 2, as opposed to the kind of chunkier, kind of crispier Switch 1 look. Performance remains at 60 FPS. Portable mode seems to go from 720p to 1080p here. Again, at 60 FPS. So that's pretty decent. But in handheld mode, we don't really notice a similar difference in the kind of edge presentation or anti-aliasing or lack thereof between the two portable systems here. And then there's also New Super Mario Bros. U, which is pretty simple, I would say here. Although not like they did what they could with it, but it's a pretty simple upgrade. So before it was 1080p dock, now it's 4K, full 4K. Before it was 720p portable, and now it's 1080p, and it's 60 FPS all around. But I would say that the overall art style here, like John has made mention of in a couple pieces, isn't 100% to my liking. It looks very generic, very flat, very smoothly shaded. It's not exciting in the same way that like a Super Mario Brothers Wonder art style is, or like a Mario Kart World, kind of art style is. It's not exciting in those ways. And I would say that the backgrounds here, the 2D backgrounds, are clearly designed with 1080p in mind. And some of that artwork, even though you're sampling it at a much higher resolution, it really was designed for 1080p. The resolution is in line with what you'd expect for 1080p. So some of those background elements really don't scale in the way that you might like here. But I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, John. It's like on paper it looks really good, but in practice it's like, well, it's not really what you're looking for necessarily.
I mean, fundamentally, a lot of the background elements have the same problem as the HUD stuff, right? They're bitmaps. It's not actually polygon graphics necessarily, or it's just like textured that way, so you're not going to get that much benefit from going to 4K. This is one of those examples where I feel like super sampling would have been better. Just, output it at 1080p, but super sample from a higher res. So you match everything at 1080p, but you clean up any sort of edge on it. And this game was actually also 1080p back on the Wii U where it started. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this one in the end. I actually covered this game, sort of slagged it off pretty hard in the Super Mario Wonder video I did, really highlighting my problem with it, which is the way they do sort of like key poses and animation frames of Mario's actions. He looks very limp in these games. Like it doesn't feel that great to move around, versus like Wonder, where they very specifically chose exact keyframes for like hitting blocks, landing on enemies, things to make it feel very impactful, like the old Sprite games, where here it feels like a limp polygon character that never really moved that well. And also, I always felt the Mario Brothers U games, the new Super Mario Brothers games always had this kind of heavy, weighty feel that felt like it was trying to like take a page from like the 3D Mario games in 2D, but I don't think it works that well in 2D. So, but hey, if you like these games, please, by all means, enjoy it. You can now enjoy it at a higher resolution, which is cool. I guess what would have been cool, I mean, I don't know how possible it would have been, but in a case like this, it feels like they absolutely have room to get this up to 120 frames per second. And I'm actually a little surprised that none of Nintendo's releases so far have attempted that. Like, with some of the more conservative games, I feel like they could have... I mean, these are Switch 1 games, so there is a challenge there, but I feel like Nintendo would have wanted to demonstrate 120 frames per second benefits, and using a lower spec game like this would have been a great reason to do so.
I did test 120 hertz output specifically in all the software I've tested on Switch 2 so far, and none of these games take you into that 120 hertz mode when you have the hardware on. So yeah, there's no option for like a 40 FPS mode or 120 FPS mode, nothing like that. That would have been cool for NSMBU for sure.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, overall then, it's an interesting amount, and I would say nearly every game, actually every one of these is a really nice upgrade. I think Nintendo did an awesome job releasing these for free. It's actually, like I said at the beginning, somewhat uncharacteristic of Nintendo to do this. And it sort of represents a new era for them, so I'm really happy to see it. And most of the upgrades are pretty significant, and in some cases it actually like fixes the game. I think the two top-down Zelda games are the best example of actually solving major technical flaws the original games exhibited. Those flaws are gone, which is excellent. But what about you? I mean, what's your overall thoughts? You sound pretty impressed as well.
Overall, I think these upgrades are great here. I think they're very solid. They're nice enhancements of the Switch 1 versions, and like you said, they're free. So people were giving Nintendo flack for the paid upgrade for the Zelda titles, for Tears of the Kingdom, for Breath of the Wild, and perhaps they should get a little bit of flack for that, but at the same time here, what we're getting here is huge upgrades to a lot of these titles in terms of resolution, in terms of frame rate, very, very satisfying upgrades for free. So no content enhancements necessarily, no new content, no new art or anything like that, but for the most part, really, really good looking versions of these titles. So I think the biggest upgrade though maybe was in the Scarlet and Violet pack that I covered last week. That we broke it to its own video because it was so special and that game is so near and dear to my heart, certainly. But I believe that's the most substantial upgrade of the bunch. And of course, those Switch 2 editions of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and in the future, Mario Party Jamboree and Kirby: The Forgotten Land. Yeah, those are coming up as well. Those are Switch 2 editions as opposed to game upgrades, so we'll have to look at those in time as well. But you know, when you move to Switch 2 here, we're seeing consistently across the board more stable frame rates, every game at 60 FPS, 4 times the pixel count in most games, sometimes even higher than that in some titles. Resolutions between 1440p and 4K in docked play, consistently resolutions at 1080p portable, which is about as good as you can expect there. And I think it's a really good way to selfie on Switch 2, especially if you're coming from some of these games and you haven't played them as much on Switch 1. I feel like this is a great opportunity to play them on Switch 2. And then also one other thing that we have not discussed up until this point, which is loading times. So loading times, as you can see in these tests, are quite a bit faster on Switch 2, at least in the software that I've sampled here. We're looking at a pretty big improvement in Mario Odyssey here, and more than a 2x speed up in Bowser's Fury. These loading times are a lot faster than their Switch 1 counterparts, and I don't really think you'll be bothered at all by loading times on Switch 2, whereas they were a little bit more of an issue in Switch 1 software on Switch 1, could be a little bit more annoying. So I also think this is a good validation of the system's capabilities, because it does have the grunt to put out really high-res imagery, native 4K imagery even, just in simpler titles. So if you're looking at Switch 1 software, Switch 2 can consistently deliver it at like 1800p 60, 4K 60, these kinds of resolutions often. That's very satisfying. And that's very capable for like a little tiny 20-watt kind of quasi-handheld machine with this tiny fan, tiny heatsink assembly. That's very cool. So I do think this is a great way to get more mileage out of these games. Like I said in the introduction, I'm probably going to play a fair bit of those Grezzo Legend of Zelda titles. I think those are a lot better on Switch 2, certainly. This is a really compelling set of upgrades. Nintendo has done a great job here just bringing these games up to the standard that you probably expect from Switch 2 running these kinds of titles. And I think this is a great excuse for anyone with any kind of interest in these games to go back and enjoy these games, whether that's for the first time, whether you're replaying, whether you're coming back after an initially unsatisfying experience looking with Echoes of Wisdom or Shadow of Echoes of Wisdom. I think this is a great opportunity to get more mileage out of Switch 2 with just vastly upgraded versions of these.
Agreed. So yeah, we're off to a good start. I guess the only curiosity now I have is whether we're going to see additional upgrades for other games, right? Like, there's Kirby Star Allies, which could definitely benefit, but I think the big one I think everybody wants is Xenoblade games. All 3 of them, or 4. Wait, yeah, 3 of them. Wait, no, there's 4 if you count Torna, I guess.
Yeah.
It's kind of its thing. But either way, those games, they definitely had some issues with regards to image quality. And if you recall, there was even something about 60 FPS found in somewhere in there, the configuration
for XCX
or X. Yeah. So there is actually 4. There's 1, 2, 3, the remaster of 1, then there's Torna, and then there's X. So there's like 5. Man, there's so much Xenoblade on the Switch. It's nuts. It's wild. I like it. I would like to see those upgraded. I would like to see Pikmin 4 upgraded, because that was one that actually ran at quite lower resolution since they switched to Unreal Engine. Another one I would love to see, I remember complaining about Paper Mario: Thousand Year Door. It's a really nice looking remake, but it was capped at 30 FPS, right? Which was a downgrade from the GameCube version. 60 FPS would be nice. None of this stuff I think we know is necessarily going to happen, but it's all like wishful thinking. Is there any others you can think of?
Oh yeah, for me, Mario and Luigi Brothership would be one.
Oh, that was pretty messed up.
Yeah, that was, I think there was a bit of a problem towards the end of the Switch One's life cycle, where you had like some big like second-party titles that came in that were not very good from Switch One. I'd also say another example would be Princess Peach Showtime. Good platformer, but inconsistent frame pacing, Unreal Engine,
30 FPS tops.
30 FPS, exactly. So that's not very satisfying to me. I could say some other ones, like I'd love to see, Mario Party 8 at 4K. That would be pretty cool. There are lots of other titles here that are kind of like nice to have, and a couple I think aren't probably not realistic, like Tokyo Mirage Sections would be kind of cool. At high resolutions, I don't think anyone's going to back to that one.
No,
but,
probably not.
Yeah, but in general, I think they've tackled some of the more important titles to get out of the way. But I would say that I think there is some hope for the future here in terms of getting more of these game upgrades, because Splatoon 3 was not part of the initial round of titles that Nintendo had announced. They announced it alongside the upcoming Splatoon Raiders game, and then they released it the next day. So Nintendo has indeed post-launch, even if only by a few days, they've announced and released new upgrades. So I'm fully expecting, and I hope that my expectations will be satisfied here, I'm fully expecting they will be announcing more games like this in due course. Perhaps if they do like a Nintendo Direct in July, like as has been speculated, perhaps they will announce and release, maybe even shadow drop, some new releases like these, some new updates, to hopefully enhance more of their Switch One library, because yeah, there are a lot of great Switch One games. Nintendo has a vast first-party and second-party library on Switch One. I'd love to see more games like that brought over to Switch 2 in enhanced form.
Agreed. But I think that's going to do it for this video, so of course, thanks as always, Oliver.
Likewise, John, it was a pleasure.
And thank you, viewers, for watching. And hopefully you can see from this how, that they're actually super happy with what Nintendo's done on this. So hats off to them for a job well done. And yeah, hopefully we'll see more upgrades of this quality. But that's going to do it for this video, so thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Welcome back to a series so sweet, it's giving people diabetes. In today's video, Hassan is completely lost his mind. He's calling Ethan a mentally ill stalker. He's now mad at big content creators for not speaking up and defending him. He's crying about Asmongold taking away his safe space to spread terrorist propaganda. Asmongold has responded. We got plenty of updates from all of Hassan's orbiting moons. And with subscribe or you have to clean Dan Clancy's gooning pillow. And let's begin with Hassan's latest meltdown. Hassan speaks on the Ethan lawsuits, calls him a mentally ill stalker.
Call it for what it is. He's abusing the legal system the way stalkers do. No, that's precisely what he's doing. But in this circumstance, because the legal system is fucking busted, because the legal system is fundamentally broken, if you have a lot of money, you can do this kind of thing. When you're depraved and you're manic and you're an insane person, and you don't care about like wasting unlimited funds, especially considering that he does technically have virtually unlimited funds, you can be a vexatious litigant. It's like having a mentally ill stalker.
Vexatious litigant. Damn, Hassan actually picked up a dictionary for once. But unfortunately, while picking it up, he also dropped his brain in the fucking toilet. How is it mentally ill stalking to sue someone for stealing your content? That is literally how copyright is enforced. Apparently, doing anything that Hassan disagrees with, he will just brand you as mentally ill or insane. And I just love how he flip-flops every video, because remember last time he was just calling Ethan Klein broke, but now he's saying he has unlimited funds? I mean, the fact is he is quite wealthy, but so are you, right? So help out your buddies, you know, Mr. Communist here can't even donate a single dollar to help out his friends who are getting sued. These friends have defended you non-stop for years, by the way, so if you had any shred of loyalty, you would be donating. Then this next part, he basically admits that his orbiters are completely screwed, and all they can hope for is that Ethan decides to forgive them out of the goodness of his heart.
Not only does he have an unlimited amount of money and power, he also makes content off of this, so it turns into more money for him down the line. And given the way that our legal system works, given the way that our court system works, given the way that copyright works, there's really nothing you can do about it other than hope that it goes away eventually. Just like cyber stalkers. We do not have an adequate measure against cyber stalking, and just like stalking in general, we don't have the best possible measures. So the only thing you can do about cyber stalking is basically hope that they just calm down, take medication, stop stalking you. There's really nothing else you can do about it.
Alrighty, Hassan, I guess you need to update your dictionary again. Because from what I know, that is not the definition of stalking. Apparently, suing someone for a legitimate reason is now stalking them. I'm genuinely curious at this point, does this guy act stupid on purpose, or is this like a gigabrain plot? Also, why is this guy complaining about Ethan making money from covering drama or being involved in this situation? First off, he didn't want to do this. You guys forced him to do this because your fans went after his kids. He got CPS called on him, and this is purely revenge. You guys were trying to ruin his life and separate his family, and he just had to fight back. Not to mention, you also make tons of money off of this drama. Like, Hassan will always try to pretend that he's above the drama, he's above the slop, but somehow he is constantly, every single day, without fail, talking about it all the time as well. That is pretty much half his content at this point. And somehow he will still refer to anyone he disagrees with as slop tubers, when he himself is definitely a slop tuber as well. Now, one of his chatters calls him out.
Oh, stop cry bullying your friends because your friends are having consequences beneath you. Like, see, this is what I mean. It's just like the point here is to be a fucking nuisance, right?
Okay, we gotta read that because he quickly got rid of that comment. So this commenter said, then maybe be transformative and not malicious. Oh, stop cry bullying because your friends are having consequences is beneath you. Well, that's where you're wrong. Nothing is beneath Hassan, except maybe Frogan. Okay, so basically this commenter pointed out the literal truth that they maliciously tried to steal content, and then they themselves harass Ethan all the time and are now finally facing consequences, like they were crying while actively bullying him. So cry bully. And Hassan just immediately had to get rid of this comment, right? You know, we can't have the truth in my chat. Maybe my chat will start thinking for themselves. That is dangerous, guys. I'm in an echo chamber. I need to control the narrative. And it was after this he goes on a rant on how nobody is defending him. Like, no big content creators are coming out to defend Hassan. The open terrorist supporter, by the way. So, you know, I wonder why. Hassan ponders where the heroes are in the streaming space to keep Ethan and Asmongold in check and rallies the troops. Says that if it was years ago, other big content creators would have called them out.
But nowadays, a lot of people that do speak out about this kind of stuff are actually some of the most awful people, right? It's Keemstar orbiters that rely on this constant cycle of toxicity. So even the good side of commentary YouTube just basically stays quiet. And a lot of the big content creators try to stay away from this drama because they don't want this kind of toxicity to come their way, which is understandable. Nobody wants this kind of a psychopath up their asshole all the time.
Okay, so now basically everybody who criticizes him is a Keemstar orbiter. Dude, I haven't heard of that guy in ages, bro. I don't know why he's bringing Keemstar up, but it's just crazy for him to pretend that people criticizing him are like psychopaths trying to go after him. I mean, look at your friends. They're literally putting bounties on people trying to eliminate them from this universe. Look at yourself. You support multiple terrorist orgs that violate human rights on a daily basis. These people that you love so much commit several war crimes. You literally laugh at dead babies, bro. Like, if you're not the psychopath, I don't know who else is. Also, let me just make it perfectly clear, the reason people don't defend you is probably because they disagree with you. Now, which creators he's talking about, I'd love to know. Like, I don't know what big creators he's talking about. Like, obviously, PewDiePie isn't gonna randomly come out and be like, hold up, guys, let me take a break from my wife and kids and my beautiful life here and then come on video and start defending Hassan Piker. In fact, I think it's like the opposite. A lot of people don't criticize Hassan because his community and his orbiting, you know, communities harassed him so much to the point where they are unable to speak. In fact, in order to be able to criticize Hassan, you need like a, you know, a pretty strong mental and you need a pretty big fan base to defend you whenever this guy tries to call you a PDF file or a school shooter or a rapist randomly out of nowhere. And as one of the people who is obviously criticizing him a lot, I thank you guys for letting me do so. Then he cries about how nobody is criticizing Asmongold but him.
The less people push back against people like this, or even Asmongold, for example, for saying a whole bunch of insane things that actually make this space that we occupy a less safe space for a lot of our fans that are trans or have undocumented family members or themselves are undocumented or fucking not white. You know what I mean? Like, when none of us push back against these large content creators, and all of the big content creators that normally understand that this kind of thing is completely unacceptable, or even what Asmongold is doing is completely unacceptable, keeps silent, the only voices you hear create a new permission structure that make it seem as though everyone actually has this point of view. Everyone actually agrees with Ethan, because the only people that I hear from are people who agree with Ethan, or the only people that I hear from are people who agree with Asmon. And anyone who speaks out against Asmon is the recipient of an endless torrent of hate.
Okay, is it our fault that you have literally like the most indefensible position on planet Earth? Like, terrorist support is something that even the most brazen political psychopaths will struggle to agree with. And the reason that most people you hear are on Ethan's side is because he was in the right in this situation. Now, sure, he might have made a couple mistakes here and there, but overwhelmingly in this whole situation, he was the victim here. You guys wanted to ruin his life, and the situation all started with your little content cop with iDubbbz. And now that the entire thing is backfiring, you're here on stream crying absolutely every day. But back then, when most of the internet didn't know about the situation and you guys were getting away with it, you were perfectly fine with it. And come on, this is so pathetic, bro. Like, begging people to be on your side. Oh, nobody's defending me. Wah, wah. Bro, maybe say something worth defending then? And can you, for the love of God, stop pretending your orbiters aren't completely insane? Nobody wants to stand up for those kind of abhorrent people like Denims or Casey Tron or Sean or Froggen. You know, they just all have respective horrible takes. Surprisingly, each one of them has their own separate horrible take, completely separate from you. Then he just continues to pressure people to finally voice their opinions and defend him, because he creates this apocalyptic scenario like, oh, we're just gonna go after everybody. We're gonna try to deplatform everybody. And like, Hassan is like the first domino.
I try to explain to people that this, like content creators, that this kind of silence in this circumstance unironically creates a less safe environment for everyone, including themselves, because these guys will eventually move on and will go after someone else. And eventually it'll be someone that you love, right? Or even if it's like Asmon and Ethan, I bracket off in different ways. Like, Asmon is just right-wing reactionary and is just doing reactionary right-wing propaganda. Ethan is doing frivolous lawsuits and litigation in a way that actually is like very harmful to the space in a different way, right? He also does engage in some reactionary tendencies as well, but like overall, they're making a more toxic environment. When content creators are afraid of being involved in this because they see this as like toxic drama, they don't realize, but they end up creating a permission structure for this kind of attitude to persist. And that's it. And it just keeps growing. It won't go anywhere unless people push back.
Yeah, Hassan talking about creating a toxic environment. Isn't this the guy? Isn't this the guy whose chat is spamming hearts for a guy who literally shoots and kills people? Isn't this the guy whose fan base plays open defense for a guy lighting people on fire with Molotov cocktails? I've always said there's only one thing more insane than Hassan, and that is his chat. And the funniest thing about all of this is Hassan is actually right about one thing, that right now, if anyone tries to defend Hassan, they are usually immediately met with backlash just because his positions have gotten so insane. Like, day by day, he's always adding on something to the laundry list of horrible opinions. That's why when people like Jellyfish Ludwig, you know, try to play it cool and neutral while secretly sucking off Hassan on a regular basis, deleting videos for him, defending him at any turn, he obviously gets a lot of backlash and he gets called spineless. I mean, this is a classic Hassan tactic. They basically just go around and, you know, him and his orbiters try to bully and silence people all the time and make sure that everybody has the exact same extreme opinions as them. And the first time the internet is collectively turning on you and the whole situation has got so big, here you are crying like a whiny little baby. That's how you sound, bro. Full grown man, by the way. Get a grip. Anyway, so Asmongold responded.
And a lot of the big content creators try to stay away from this drama.
Has it ever occurred to you that big content creators stay away from drama between Israel and Palestine because they are Americans in a Western country and they have no business and no interest making comments on international affairs that they're not educated or understand? Why would somebody like Markiplier or somebody like Mr. Beast come out and start talking about this? They don't understand this. They expect people in these positions to have informed, educated, and accurate opinions about all of these world events. And I feel like it's a very toxic mindset to have. The fact is that you are not elevated in any sort of a way. And just because someone's popular because they make Minecraft videos doesn't mean that they have some obligation to speak out against like some internet political drama. This is, and especially when it's so personal between two people.
I mean, it's so obvious why bigger creators won't sort of jump into this situation. First off, they probably don't know as much about it. Obviously, we are more involved in the online community. Obviously, I have, more intricate details of everything Hassan has done. I've covered the whole saga. So obviously, I have a lot of back context. Meanwhile, all these other people, they might just be seeing random clips here and there, and they don't have like a completely informed opinion, which is why they won't speak out about it, and that's perfectly fine. I absolutely hate when people ask like gamers or whatever their political opinions. Like, it's obviously not going to be as informed, and it is so pathetic that people like Hassan just want everyone to agree with them on everything. And we know this from the whole Ethan situation, because Ethan literally agrees with Hassan's politics like 95%. The only thing they disagreed with was that Ethan doesn't openly support terrorists. And just because of that one disagreement, Hassan and his community completely turned on him and basically wanted to ruin his life. It's like these people are constantly looking for something to get mad about. And honestly, people even do this to me. They like ask me my opinions on XYZ political thing. And I always say, I don't care. I'm literally a slop tuber. My entire channel is built on the basis of calling out stupid people and just kind of talking about what I want. So unless you're voicing stupid opinions online, then you probably don't gotta be worried about randomly showing up in one of my videos. You don't need to ask me about the political and economic state of the world. I'm sure you can get that analysis from somebody else. Now, sometimes I have to briefly mention it because if I'm talking about someone like Hassan, whose entire life is based around politics, obviously I gotta mention certain things, I gotta clarify certain positions, and I'm not trying to be political there. I'm never gonna push politics on anyone. I don't find that fun at all. But I just like to point out things that are common sense. I think regardless of your politics, everybody can agree that terrorist support is bad. Terrorist propaganda is bad. You know, supporting people who violate human rights all the time is bad. Anyways, after this, Asman responds to the whole safe space argument by Hassan.
This space that we occupy, a less safe space for a lot of our fans that are...
It's not any less safe whenever you have to hear an opinion that you disagree with. This entire idea of a safe space, it's not really very safe for Ethan's family whenever CPS is called on them. It's not very safe for people whenever they get deplatformed and they lose their job. The entire idea of a safe space and advocating for that, this is absolutely not true. And if you remember very clearly, didn't Hassan just very recently talk about one of the reasons why, people are saying bad things on the internet is because they would get beat up in real life for it? Hassan doesn't want a safe space. He wants a space that's safe for him. And if he has the ability to, he will control and enforce that on other people. You don't hate, a bigotry. You want to be the arbiter of bigotry. You don't hate, a power structure. You want to be the power structure. So this idea that these people are raging against the system is actually not true. They're actually just trying to advocate and vie for control over the system so they can exercise it as a weapon against people that they don't like. So while Hassan advocates for saying that I make things less safe for people, Hassan advocates for actively making things less safe for people in real life.
Oh my god, dude, that is absolutely spot on. That is pretty much exactly the trap that Hassan tries to set, where his words will appear to be reasonable. For example, I just want a safe space for everybody. You know, sounds pretty reasonable. You want everybody to feel safe. But when you open that curtain and you look a little bit deeper, you realize that what he's talking about is that he just wants his opinion to be on top and to overshadow everybody else. He wants everyone he disagrees with to be deplatformed and shunned from society. And I'm not making that up. He literally admitted to this in the past as well. He wants people he disagrees with to be treated like neo-Nazis, ran off the streets, not allowed to be the local dog walker.
You shouldn't even let someone be the fucking local dog catcher as if they've ever exhibited any sort of positive feelings about the state of Israel.
Hassan is not talking about a safe space. He's talking about his space. A space where he can openly promote terrorists and not be criticized for it. But unfortunately, that's not how the world works. You actually do have to sit there and hear opinions from people different than you, especially on the internet. And the thing is, people can disagree and be perfectly fine with it. The funniest thing about my videos is that there's actually a lot of people that disagree with a lot of the things I say, and they never actually get super mad at me. They will just respectfully tell me if I get something wrong, or they will respectfully disagree, but they'll never try to like remove me from existence. And that's kind of the fan base you want to cultivate, where it doesn't matter if we have somewhat different opinions regarding certain things, as long as we agree on some central values and moral principles, we'll probably get along. You know, the funniest thing, I got a message on Instagram. Somebody said that I basically disagree with everything you say, but you're absolutely hilarious, so I still watch your videos. And those are some of like my favorite comments ever. Obviously, you know, I don't know why you disagree with everything I say. That's kind of insane. But still, I don't know. I just find it hilarious that there's like legitimate like Hassan fans watching me just because I'm actually more entertaining than that moron. So again, apologies for, you know, shitting on you 24/7, because if you're a Hassan fan, I'm sorry. I gotta shit on you, but I appreciate you watching regardless, all right?
Or even what Asmongold is doing is completely unacceptable.
Wasn't Hassan just advocating for freedom of speech the other day? And saying that, you know, oh, well, you're a free speech defender? All of the values that these people, you know, pretend to have, they just simply use these values against you. They don't have these values themselves. They don't care about these values. They use these values as a tool to make you subvert your own goals. Unacceptable to who? To him. He's decided that it's unacceptable. This is, again, what I was saying. You don't want freedom of speech. You want to control who can speak.
If only there was a theory that encapsulated everything about Hassan in one neat word. Hassanetics, ladies and gentlemen, created by Pegasus, of course. Please open your textbooks to page 42, paragraph 3. Hassan's opinion is the only one that matters. Everyone else is always wrong. Free speech only applies to Hassan and his orbiting moons. Everybody else needs to be run off the internet and potentially killed. Make sure to highlight that one in your textbook, kids. That will be on the test next Monday. And make sure to do your homework. You gotta watch at least 30 seconds of Hassan. I know, nobody likes homework, but you gotta do it, all right?
Like, do you really think that all these wholesome, normal, you know, like, good, family-friendly YouTubers watch you promote terrorism? And then they think, oh, wow, that's my guy?
Yes, actually, you're gonna see Report of the Week come out, and instead of reviewing the latest McDonald's sandwich, he's gonna be reviewing Hassan's favorite terrorist groups. Jacksepticeye's next video is gonna be on the ethics of Hamas. That's the world Hassan wants to live in, where everybody is just talking about politics.
Ethan is doing frivolous lawsuits and litigation.
Who decides that it's frivolous? Hassan or multiple people with law degrees?
Well, I mean, Hassan does have a degree in Hassanetics, of course. So I don't know. I think Hassan wins that one. He has a PhD, actually.
If people like Hassan want other content creators to get behind them and support them, then they need to do things that are more worthy of support. Promoting terrorism, constantly lying about people, calling people generational sexual assaulters, calling people pedos and lolly lovers with no evidence, just calling somebody a school shooter. This isn't something that average people are going to listen to and they're going to say, oh, wow, this is really cool. Let's go ahead and go with this.
Dude, you know the funniest thing? Whenever I meet people in real life and they ask me to, like, describe my content, and I'm like, oh, you know, I make commentary videos that talk about, like, internet drama. And they ask, oh, okay, so who you're talking about? And obviously now I gotta say, you know, Hassan, he's, like, this big streamer, and he says some crazy shit. And then they ask me, oh, yeah, what does he say? And then I just gotta, like, slowly mutter, yeah, he does, you know, he just openly supports terrorists and stuff. And you just see their jaw drop. They're like, what? Actual true story. This has happened like 2 or 3 times, by the way. But yeah, fun times, interesting times, guys. Anyways, let's move on to Hassan's orbiting moons. Asu Subreddit drops a wake up edit.
Ethan, wake up. The dumb is telling you to wake up.
Ethan, wake up. Wake up, Ethan. Wake up. Time to be awake, Ethan.
Wake up, Ethan. Ethan, wake up.
Oh my god, one by one, the dominoes fall. 4 lawsuits and counting. Let me know your predictions in the comments below. Where are we going to be in a month from now? How screwed are the Hassan orbiters going to be, and maybe Hassan himself? Stay tuned for the greatest series on planet Earth. Denims implies that she will not settle with Ethan, has obtained legal counsel, and will be fighting the lawsuit in court.
Finally, on the you can find lawsuit stuff, just to reiterate with all of you, I will be fighting the lawsuit. I have legal counsel. They are actively working towards drafting some stuff. I can't really share more than that right now, but I can't really share strategy right now, but they are working tirelessly for this case, and I can assure all of you that all of this is going to directly fund the paperwork, the documents that are currently being worked on that will be filed, and I'm very excited to, once it is filed and once it's public, to share it with you guys.
Well, I mean, at least you have a lawyer that is already better than Casey Tron at the moment, but man, you are gonna get so cooked. How are you possibly going to defend openly stealing content maliciously? And I don't know if I believe her, to be honest. She's saying that all the GoFundMe money is going directly to fund the lawsuit. I mean, you better post receipts of that shit, because I'm absolutely not buying that. If you're anything like your friends iDubbbz and Anissa, you might be secretly pocketing some of that money. Not to mention, she literally admitted last time that she will be self-funding if there was any lawsuit going forward, which means she does potentially have the money to fund this herself. But she's taking advantage of the situation to crowdfund money from her Tier 3 simps. Unless that was a bluff too and she's actually completely broke, there's no real way to tell here. Because unlike the other people, she did have a semi-decent viewership. And I don't know how much that OnlyFans is raking in either. But we'll see. I'm praying to God if this goes to court, they live stream the trial, because oh my God, that would be insane content. You guys would be fed for the next year. Now moving on to Froggen. Apparently she's taking the week off. Thank you so much for the support. If you guys want to continue this, GoFundMe, my legal defense is here. Willie Mac says, bro, you're getting sued. You can't afford to take time off. Dude, that's absolutely crazy. You should be working overtime right now. How will you afford the sandwiches? How will you afford the extra stuffed pizza? Come on. No wonder she asked for double of what the other two are asking. Yeah, by the way, this just shows that the amounts they're asking is completely random. Like somebody's asking 150, 100K, 200K. How about you state exactly how much the lawyer fees are so other people don't get scammed? But obviously they don't care about that. They're just trying to make as much money as possible. Anyways, let's move on to Shonda Black. If you remember last video, Ethan decided to add him to the lawsuits and made Taylor Lorenz grovel at his feet to drop the lawsuit. If the Snark server Taylor Lorenz apologized for calling me a misogynist, I'll drop the lawsuit. Well, Sean responded, this is the last thing I'll say about this, but Ethan Klein is using me to force accomplished women journalists to grovel to him is ironically exactly misogyny he claims is inaccurate in this very post. He presents a false choice. Grovel to him as he exerts the control he wants to feel over women. Deny him whatever gratification he gets from that narcissistic behavior and subsequently be blamed by him for his small predator being sued. I reject this choice. F you, Ethan. I love how he rejected this choice after Ethan already rejected it for him. Do I think Ethan was actually gonna drop the lawsuits? Probably not. Maybe he was just trolling them. I don't really know. I'm not inside Ethan's head here. In my opinion, he should absolutely not, because these people need to have a reality check or they're gonna continue being disingenuous pieces of shit. Tectone responded, Shonda Black about to be Shonda Bro. Insert Fortnite L dance. Let's add a white D to complete the circle of isms. Right, anyways, let's move on to Casey Tron. She's continued crying on Twitter now. I'm so sick of incel. Wow, we're what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words in and we got incels already. Pearl clutching about me smoking weed. Holy F, what a bunch of soy boy freaks. You think I were in a back alley giving jobs for dirty drugs? I spend less money on weed a month than you do on gacha games. Corn, sick, lonely ass incel freaks. She's really up in that incel tally here. The rage baiting won't work on the judge, you know that, right? People are linking my video, oh my. More threats, intimidation, and harassment from the incel brigade. They're trying to intimidate me into silence. I have every right to speak on the way I'm feeling right now and the mental anguish this has caused me. Casey, I present to you a challenge. Make one tweet or say one statement without the word incel in it. Holy God, that is her favorite word. Anyway, she keeps going. Asmongold is rallying his troops against me. It's going to get worse. It's going to get a lot worse and will never get better. He's signaling to his hate audience that he wants to run a lifelong harassment campaign against me and lightly hinting that I should neck myself. He literally never said that. She continues, the incel brigade was so upset to see me getting empathy. They've been doing yet another mass spirit campaign to disparage my character and convince people that I'm deserving of having my life ruined. Awful men in this platform hate to see women not continuously dehumanized. Obviously, turn this into a men versus women issue, so all the absolute brain-dead, low IQ rejects on Twitter take your side. All the mentally ill Twitter girlies go, well, women, gotta support the woman. They are now scrubbing through all my social media to find anything damning of me, even claiming I said Asmongold necked his mom, which is a lie. You definitely did imply that. As well as being upset, I said bad empanada was funny. The crash out is because there was one post on r/this expressing empathy towards me. The incel hate brigade cannot stand when their behavior makes it out of the incel echo chamber and see for what it is for the man. Dude, I can't even take it seriously. It's so funny. Didn't realize the audio was muted. So this absolute idiot posted this 1-minute clip of Asmongold and it was completely muted. She was definitely smoking like 60 times before this, bro. Ain't no way. Look at this. There's no audio. Oh my god. So it was from the top rubs. We got Omega Simp Mike from PA defending her. Is Twitch going to wait until someone is seriously injured by these incel stalking communities before they do something about it? By the way, extremely ironic coming from Mike from PA, bruh. Here is Asmongold doing a direct call to action for his community to harass another partnered streamer. I don't care who you are, that's not okay. And he's linked the muted video. Even this guy didn't even click on the video. Bro, nah, you can't make this up. He didn't even click on this video and he said, this is a direct call to action to harass another streamer. You can't be serious. Also, this is the same guy who said he wants Ethan to bleed from the mouth. This is the same guy who says if he sees someone at TwitchCon, it's on site or something. This is the same guy who's like threatening to kill people. You put a bounty on somebody before. Just destroyed. This he's absolutely having a breakdown. If we keep pushing, the problem will solve itself. Interesting. Wow. Apparently people are defending her with random sob stories. We grew up in extreme poverty, blah, 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 blah. Food stamps, streaming allowed Casey a way out. Alright, people like Ethan Klein have no idea what it means to live in poverty. This feels like the most blatant examples of class warfare. Holy mother of God, how do you get this stupid? Anyways, Asmongold responded, continues to show no sympathy for Caseytron, also calls out Mike from PA.
This is Asmongold from Caseytron. And so anyway, I don't know if we really want to watch this entire video, but I just want to go through. It's so long, it's actually boring. These are all the posts that she's made about me. She's made all these posts about me. She's constantly talking about me. This is the person who's saying that I'm rallying the troops against her. If you think even for a second that you are going to try to seek any type of sympathy from me, that is not the case. Criticizing somebody for doing something bad. Oh wow, he says he doesn't feel bad for somebody who said that he killed his mom? Oh no. Get the f*** out of here.
I mean, I'm glad that Asmon is not backing down. These people absolutely deserve everything they are getting. Also, if there's any doubt that Casey was implying that Asmon killed his mom, well, here we have this clip.
Caseytron even liked a tweet that is accusing me of indirectly killing my mom.
That tweet, it says, thankfully, XQC's lifestyle hasn't led directly to the death of one of his parents yet, so he has that going for him over Asmon at least. I'll admit, I did like that tweet, and I have a lack of respect for Asmongold after letting his mom with COPD live in those sort of conditions. I'm sorry. Like, you're a millionaire, you have all of the resources in the world. Why is your sick mother living like that? Like, I'll say it, I don't care. If that makes me a bad person, still miles above of Asmongold. Miles above Asmongold.
Now, I'm gonna be honest. I do genuinely believe that bad things do happen to bad people. And so whenever I see somebody saying this, I think it's just a matter of time. And whenever it inevitably happens, I will be there to laugh.
I mean, he absolutely called it literally a year ago. Karma is real, fellas. Note it down. Also, that is absolutely implying that Asmon killed his mom there. You're basically trying to say that he didn't take care of her enough and that led to her death. Also, Kowalski analysis. What is this video right here? What did I say? Everybody's a fan, baby. In Thank you, YouTube. This is on the homepage as well. You know, pushing out my videos. That's a good boy, YouTube. Good shit. Also, by the way, Mike from PA is like the biggest loser ever, and he just finds any way to insert himself in any of these situations, just like all these orbiters do. They're like a bunch of ants gathering around like a piece of sugar. Oh, there's drama. Oh, one of my degenerate friends is being attacked. I gotta jump in on this. I gotta farm some Twitter likes. Anyways, XQC also chimed in on the situation.
Don't let tears blind you from how low these people stoop when they see an opportunity to strike. Okay, they go as low as possible. She did some thing about like Asmon's mom, I'm pretty sure. She tweeted some shit about me when I was going through my court case and my fake shit over. She piled on. Yo, when she sees a weak target, she strikes as hard as she can.
XQC having good takes. It's becoming a common occurrence now. Is this XQC? Has he been replaced by another life form? But yeah, he's completely right. The only reason they're crying now is because they're not in the majority. Anytime they see like a weaker target or somebody struggling, they're gonna try to kick them while they're down. That's literally what they did to XQC as well when he was having that whole lawsuit with Adept. Now click this video to send Hassan to North Korea. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
A nicer gift. You know, at least so you can show you were thinking of them. You know, drop them a note on the day, send them a gift that's kind of on the nicer side. Just make some effort. Make some effort. That's all.
Don't be dramatic.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah. We
finish announcements, maybe.
No.
What are you doing? My job now? We're gonna get yelled at so much.
Sammy just appeared like Slenderman a second ago. So
He did? What are you still doing here? You should go home.
Judging you for not doing the announcement on time.
There's never been a better time to subscribe to Floatplane, and here's 3 reasons. 1, tons of amazing content exclusives coming up. We have an upcoming Linus and Terran, our CEO, interview to mark Terran's 2-year anniversary on July 1st. That dropping the same day. Oh, okay, so that's coming out on the same day as his 2-year anniversary. We also have Linus reacts to awkward staff interactions. So we shot that ages ago. I've actually talked about that on WAN Show. That was very uncomfortable for me to watch. I was watching people describing their first time meeting me and how awkward I was. We also have the I spent 24 hours with Linus in Taiwan
Fake
vlog.
news.
The last 2 are coming out during Lime Day. Speaking of Lime Day, that's reason number the 2nd. Floatplane members are going to get 24-hour early access to the deals that we will have at lttstore.com. They will be announced next week. And that is... Oh, do you not know about this?
No, I know about it. We don't have Floatplane logging on the global store.
Okay, Luke's going to send a quick message. Yeah. We will figure out some stuff. And finally, number 3 is early access to Scrapyard Wars. We don't have a set date for the first episode, but like last year, each episode will be available early on Floatplane, and each episode will contain extras on Floatplane. A basic $5 tier will net you all of these, the amazing exclusives already out, like the scrapped original transparent screwdriver from a year ago. What is this? Scrapped original transparent screwdriver from a year ago. What am I looking at? Oh, that's our Shopify 1 million orders thing. Is this... Oh yeah, okay, yeah, there you go. He's doing screwdriver things, and I think there was one other thing. What am I looking at? Dennis Prank extended scene. Okay, yeah, cool. So that's a brand new exclusive that just went up. You can also hang out in the Floatplane WAN chat, so don't miss out on any of this by going to lmg.gg/floatplane. Evil Fuzzy asks, what about the $3 OG subscribers? Yeah, of course. Don't worry, we got you. All right, topics. You ready for a topic?
Yeah.
Tesla has launched Robotaxi Country. Last Sunday, Tesla launched, its highly anticipated Robotaxi service in Austin, Texas. This launch included a limited geo-fenced area of Austin that has been thoroughly mapped by Tesla, and it was available by invite only. So we've got a link to the geofenced area, and then we have a Google Maps link for reference. So I'm just going to pull these up here and screen share with you guys. So here's Google Maps, and here is the Tesla area. And where? Oh wow. Is that as small as it looks?
It's not all of one city.
Oh, it's not close to all of one city. It's like, yeah. Okay. What am I even looking at here? So here. Where's the 290? Okay, why am I looking at these layers? Okay, so Lakeshore Boulevard is here. Why am I having such a hard time with this? Did I zoom in on kind of the wrong spot? Uh-oh, I think I might have lost it. Here it is. Okay, I think I got it now. So basically, it's just along... It's just along here. Why is the 35 not labeled here? Okay, what is this one? Is this like 71 or 290 or something? What is this? Okay, I'm so confused. Oh, here's the 71. Oh, okay. No, it's a little bigger. It's a little bigger than I thought. Okay, here we go. So the 71 here, where it converts to the 290, that's right here. There we go. We've managed to map this out here. And then it kind of goes up to here and kind of to here. So it doesn't make its way into Rolling Wood here. So that's, wow. So it's this little chunk of Austin right here.
Cool.
Can we see it? I mean, that's something, right? That's kind of something. So if we go to the satellite view, yeah, I mean, oh yeah, okay. I was gonna say, I mean, that's most of the like populous areas, but Austin's a really big city. Wait, this isn't still Austin, is it? No, it can't be. How big is Austin? Yeah, okay. Neat. So that's cool. A number of kind of pro-Tesla influencers received invites for the service, and Tesla has not stated when the service will be available to the general public. The trial includes 10 to 20 Model Y vehicles that have a robotaxi decal on the side of the vehicle, and cars included a Tesla-employed safety monitor in the front passenger seat that can react to dangerous situations by pressing an emergency button. Got it. All fares within the service area were set to a flat $4.20. Nice. And there are multiple videos of passengers live streaming their experience from start to finish. There were some issues with one passenger finding their Tesla at the pickup location. There were some issues with passengers finding their Teslas at the pickup location. This is like Pokemon hunting, one person on Herbert Ong's live stream said, but it's like robotaxi hunting. And the riders were asked by the safety monitor to show identification when getting into the vehicle. Once seated, the rear screen instructs riders to fasten their seatbelts and presents a Start Ride button. Because riders booked the car through the Tesla app, their preferred music app is available on the rear screen with playlists and saved tracks. That's pretty cool. The rear screen also includes buttons for support if you ever need assistance or pull over to end the trip early. Most riders described their trips as smooth and uneventful, although there are a few clips where less than perfect behavior was caught. So Dan, I actually need your help for this bit because we don't want to watch these videos on the WAN show because that would be rude. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to link everyone and we're going to have a little watch party. Yeah, so if you could link them to the first one first, we're going to start watching together. So Luke, do you want to load it up?
Sure, one sec.
Okay. And ready, Luke?
Yep.
And play. Okay. Oh, wow. It was going really slow. Okay, so that's what we're supposed to see.
What?
So the Tesla in the left lane is one of the Cybercab Teslas.
Oh, not the car that's driving. Okay. I was the car that's driving seemed
The car that's
fine.
driving seems to be doing fine. But that one in the left lane is going like super slow.
Okay, got it.
Interesting. I mean, I would say that that's probably not the end of the world as far as things go. Okay, number 2. Ready? And go. Oh boy, I got an ad. Brilliant. What happened in this one? I'm behind you.
It's kind of brake slams, it seems.
Oh, wow.
I don't have audio, but I think that's what happened.
Yep. Just for reasons. I mean, okay, again, I'd rather it, stop for reasons rather than accelerate for reasons. So that's something. Number 3 is a safety monitor intervening for a UPS truck that is backing up. So we can see this is from Dave Lee. And it's going. And this UPS truck is coming. Here it comes. We're chilling. We're chilling some more. We're just going to chill here. These are the kinds of edge cases, though, that are the reason that I just...
But it cuts to the outside when it drives away?
Yeah, but the safety monitor doesn't appear to be in the passenger seat anymore there.
So he's driving.
I'm going to double check. That's sure what it looks like to me. I'm going to zoom. I can't see very clearly. That's what it appears to be to me. And then
it's not clear, yeah.
We've got another one that is definitely parked in a parking spot for drop-off. Let's have a look here. So that's number 4. Oh, wow. Sure. Wow, is that a handicap spot? That it's like not in at all?
I was watching the other one still.
Okay.
Sorry,
Wow.
I'm trying to figure out some stuff.
Okay. And you know what? Grand scheme of things, these are all pretty small issues.
I'd be interested to see, like, for the amount of rides that they did and the duration of it.
Like what the intervention rate is?
And like those types of failures, and then look at humans driving in the same area for the same amount of time and the types and severity of the problems that were caused by them. Now, I do agree. I fully expect if we're going to have some robotic thing driving, I'm not okay with it having the same amount of problems that humans have, especially because like something has to be responsible and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I am still interested just purely in what those stats are.
Charge Nuclei 8300 says Robotaxi is allowed to use handicap parking. The driver has no legs or head.
That's pretty good. Okay.
That makes sense.
Discussion question.
Yeah.
Would you use a service like this in a well-mapped area? Do you think there is opportunity for this to work in a busy or challenging environment? Waymo.
Okay, but let's not. I'm going to tweak the discussion question a little bit because Waymo very clearly has the lead here.
Yes.
They are actually operating unsupervised. And when you factor in how few of these cybercabs are actually roaming the streets in this very limited geographical area, and then if you look at the tweet of the launch party and how many remote operators are waiting to take over these things, it's not 1-to-1, I don't think, but they're ready for basically them to not be working. Pretty much. And that does not show a lot of confidence in the actual autonomous functionality of the product. To be clear, Waymo has the ability to intervene remotely in the operation of their vehicles, but I From my understanding is that it's not such a high ratio of available operators to operating vehicles.
I don't know if you're trying to meme or not, Bubbly Charizard, but the SkyTrain being fully autonomous does not mean that it's the equivalent to cyber taxis. It's on rails.
Literally.
There's no traffic.
Literally, it's on rails.
Why does it stop at 1 a.m.?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Well, so that people won't sleep on it because reasons, I guess. So more specifically, if Tesla was available here, if a Cybercab was available here and Vancouver was sufficiently mapped or whatever, would you get in one?
No, not at this time. I'm not against it forever, but not at this time. That was a very small amount of testing to have a significant amount of what seemed like issues that should be solved, in my opinion. No, they didn't smash in anything, which is great.
The really curious thing to me is a big part of Tesla's pitch over the years to investors and owners of their vehicles has been that they're going to own the race to mapping data by just having all of the drivers of all the millions of cars that they've sold driving around mapping these areas. And the way that the goalposts have moved for the launch of this product has been pretty remarkable for me to behold. And I've just got to wonder, like, is it just that investors don't have the tech savvy to fully understand what it is that they're looking at and how different what they've deployed is here compared to Waymo and even compared to what they've promised in the past? Like, why did they need to do so much manual mapping of this area if their whole leadership in this space is that they should have the data already? And the claim being made by their CEO is that, well, because we have all this mapping data, we're going to be able to roll out new areas like fast. There's going to be thousands and thousands of these cybercabs on the road at some period XYZ. But I don't understand how we keep believing these claims. You know, fool me once, shame on me. No, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. But like, what about the 12th time I've been fooled? Like, who's accountable at that point?
You, for sure. Just saying. And there's been some comments about it. I would get in one. I wouldn't use the service. Those are different things.
How are those different? I'm having a bit of a hard time with that.
Like if I was at an event, like if we were at CES.
Oh,
and
like
it was like,
controlled environment.
Yeah, it's not so much the risk. I don't like. I'm looking at a service that, based on the videos, like barely works.
Right. So if you need to go 10 blocks that way.
Pretty much any time I've ever had to get into a cab, I actually need to be at that place in a relatively okay amount of time. Like, sure, there are examples where that hasn't been true, but that's kind of usually how it's going. And if it's just going to, like, randomly pull over because a cop is in a parking lot or something, like, no, I'll go with the Uber.
I didn't catch the scale last time I was looking at this, so it looks like the area they have mapped is actually no, it's like a few miles wide and tall and stuff.
It's not tiny.
You could conceivably walk it though. You would. You probably wouldn't, but this man walks. Like he'll walk an hour.
I do them walks
to go somewhere,
especially if I'm in a place that I like.
Yeah, so I'm gonna drop a dot right here, and then I'm gonna get directions to like kind of a dot like over here.
Yeah, Lucas said you wouldn't call one, but if your friend calls one, you would use it. Yeah, like I'm not gonna not get in it on principle or something.
You could walk across the area that they have mapped in on the order of like an hour and something, but in less than 2 hours.
Where were we when we? Can you say?
It looks like it anyway. If I manage to find the right spot again.
When we did the gamer house, the LAN house.
We're allowed to say the city we were in. Yes.
Where were we? Was it Austin?
I think it was Austin. Yeah.
Then I probably have.
Fair enough. Ooh, not bad. Oop. All right. What do you want to talk about next?
What do we got? What do we got?
Riot Games. Nope.
Sure. No, I'm down with it.
Riot Games announced that they are opening up betting sponsorship opportunities for League of Legends and Valorant esport teams in the Americas and EMEA. They stated that according to Sport Radar, there was a $10.7 billion betting turnover on just Valorant and League of Legends in 2024, most of which likely being in unregulated markets. They've partnered with Grid to be the required source for official stats in any sports betting partnerships. They were careful to note that official broadcasts and their social channels will not partake in gambling sponsorships, and that teams cannot have their logos on their jerseys. So it will be up to each individual team then to craft how sports betting related content shows up on their channel within Riot's guidelines, content platform TOS, and local regulations. Riot will also vet each sponsor.
Sure.
Oh wow. Okay.
This is a good thing to have
I take
in here.
no responsibility for the words.
This is a good thing to have in here.
I take no responsibility for the words that are about to escape between mine meat folds.
I wish he was here.
Sammy's extremely hot and spicy take.
We need more of these on Wayne Show.
Is that this is good. His TLDR is that esports isn't particularly profitable at the team level, so increasing sponsorship dollars for teams, plus Riot taking steps to regulate this, is a positive for me. The sport is maturing, and this is the result. But of course, be responsible.
I think it's a good thing for the sport. I think it is a depressingly bad thing for humanity. That's my opinion.
Yeah,
I do think it's a good thing for the sport.
I'm very proud that we have never taken a gambling sponsorship. If I had to choose between the survival of the company and the ongoing employment of everyone here, would my principles bend?
It's interesting.
I have nothing to gain by having this conversation in public, and only your opinion of me to lose. The truth is, I don't know.
That's tough.
I actually
it's also
don't
even
know.
tough to identify that scenario, you know?
Well, yeah, because there'd always be like, there'd always be another way. Like another way could be we cut staff.
OnlyFans.
Sure. I could
that's
sell
Nick
pics.
like right now.
No,
you're not. Denoli 444 says, Luke and Linus, have you seen the gambling stats for young adults in Canada? It's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's depressing.
It's
because it's been extremely normalized. Like I honestly never thought I'd see this. It was totally taboo.
It's quaint to see an old episode of like The Simpsons or something, where like, you know, the guys are over for the guys are over for gambling night. What? Like I don't know if The Simpsons ever did it, but you know, like sitcoms did that. You know, like, aren't you a cop? Yeah, whatever. It's poker night. You know, like that bit. Now, I don't think anyone would even bat an eye these days. Like if Luke and I gambled right now, would anybody care?
It would be normal content.
It would be normal streaming content.
Which is sad.
The platforms wouldn't care. The audience wouldn't care.
You watch sports, which never used to talk about it ever. It used to actually, they would actively try to get stuff shut down, and now it is the main advertiser for like everything.
Dude, I talked about it already.
The casters talk about it.
I talked about it already, but it bears talking about again, or merits talking about again. I watched the Stanley Cup Finals this year. I couldn't believe how brazenly they were promoting problematic behaviors, problematic gambling behaviors. They weren't just saying, you know, you can gamble, know your limit, play within it. Like, that is in the past now.
That was the limit
it's like,
before.
Now it's like, bet on this one. Don't forget to bet on that one. But have you bet on this other one yet?
If you put in enough bets, be quick. It's gonna like the betting for this is gonna close at a certain point.
Don't bet on just one team. Bet on 3 teams. Like,
There's a commercial that I saw recently where somebody they have a jersey on and they place a bet for that team. And then their friend comes over and they're wearing a different jersey.
That's the one I'm talking about.
That's a horrible commercial. That is
awful.
A terrifying commercial because it is promoting stupid betting habits.
Yeah, just betting at any time for any reason.
For any team,
constantly.
No research, no thought process, betting based on the most recent random thing you saw. That is what they're promoting. It's horrible. It's actually so bad. God, it ruins people's lives all the time. And I don't understand. It's so weird to me that so few people hold this opinion now. It's so odd to me. Is this me just being a boomer?
These two messages.
All these young kids and they're gambling.
These two messages are back to back in Floatplane chat. Trash Cat says, I'll do the other one first. It's the Frenchiest Fry says, my Boy Scout troop did a fantasy football competition. And fantasy football can be fun. It can be. But oftentimes, there's money involved, and I think it's not a ridiculously wild take to say that playing for not money could lead to playing for money. Could, potentially. If you are the kind of person who is susceptible to be drawn in to that lifestyle. Right next to them, my younger brother got hooked on gambling and is $10,000 in debt. Those two messages, right there. Dude, I talked about how much I hated, especially after watching Mark Rober's video on how rigged amusement centers and arcades are. I hated how much those games were training my kids for gambling whenever we'd go into them. It's gambling with training wheels. It's kiddie gambling.
It feels like that whole I think it's Nescafe. You know this story? Is it the wrong brand? There's a coffee brand that wanted to get into Japan, but yeah, you know this story? There's a coffee brand that wanted to get into Japan, and they worked with somebody or did some market research or something and found that nobody in Japan likes coffee. They all like tea. So they started introducing kids candies and stuff that were coffee flavored, so that the kids would get used. It was Nescafe? I don't know. It's somewhere. The kids would get used to the flavor of coffee, and then they kept doing stuff like that. And now coffee is an enormous industry. They got into Japan not by convincing the adults that it was good. They got into Japan by, and Nestle owns Nescafe. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Great. By doing, by effectively advertising to children through getting them used to the flavor. So these little it's kind of gambling, but it's not really, and it's for kids, is definitely to get kids more into gambling when they're older. That's for sure a thing. That's one of hot takes coming back to Wan Show. I'm excited. This is the whole thing about why I don't balk as hard at the Nintendo game price increase. Because if I'm trying to think, if I had kids and I had to give them a game, I would much rather give them older games or games that don't have microtransactions in them.
I'm going to dump some cold water on that.
Sure.
There's literally gambling in Pokemon Blue.
Yeah.
Okay.
It helps that
also
you just lose.
also, I would say that oh man.
An enemy has been slain.
Is Nintendo Super Gacha? I don't think so. They'll milk you. They'll sell you amiibos. They'll sell you 2 copies of literally going back to the Game Boy. They would sell you Pokemon Blue and Red and a link cable.
King of the milkers.
They'll milk you. But they're not Super Gacha. Apparently they have gacha mobile games. Oh. You can't count on anybody. You can't count on anybody these days.
Dang, that's sad. That sucks. But yeah, I think there's value to trying to avoid these things. But it is weird to me. There is anti-gambling is not that big of a thing anymore. Everybody just gave up, and it felt like everybody just gave up at the same time. It was weird.
I feel like Twitch just like made it super mainstream. You know what? Oh, back to what you were saying about Nescafe and the candies and stuff. That's actually something that blew my mind about McDonald's strategy. Like, McDonald's has been struggling. They've been closing stores. Broadly speaking, I don't know if they like had a good quarter last quarter or whatever.
The worst rebrand in the world.
But they basically, as far as I can tell, lost their mojo back when I was making the transition to adulthood. Remember when they brought in, they got rid of the fun, kid-friendly restaurants with play places,
and they made them
they brought in McCafe with the green and the brown, and they tried to be Starbucks, and it's like, and something that I've been trying to figure out for basically my entire adult life is what the hell were they thinking? The only reason that anyone I knew ate McDonald's was because they ate it as a kid. And my kids don't even like McDonald's. But I will say that the occasional McDonald's we went to when they were young, and they still had more of the ones that had like the play centers in them and stuff, they enjoyed going there. McDonald's figured it out.
Yeah.
Like decades ago.
Yeah. That
you just wanted to associate the flavor of McDonald's with happy family memories, and you'd be hooked for life. And then they were just like, you know what? Cartoon characters that appeal to kids? No, forget it. Adults have more money. We should appeal to adults. Guess who buys stuff for kids? Are you crazy? Anyway. Good luck, McDonald's. Truthfully, I don't care about your success. Your food sucks. And yes, that is just conditioning. So much of marketing, Maori in Floatplane chat, is just conditioning.
Is it Maori?
Maori, I don't know. Shabhamd says, McDonald's is not a service company, it's a real estate company. Yeah, but I mean, what's the machine that creates the money to invest in real estate? Like you have to have an operating business. All right. Ooh. Should we talk about Dbrand's Kill Switch 2 case controversy?
What does this say? Hold on.
Oh, what are you doing? What am I looking at? That's awesome.
This is sick.
Is that current?
It seems like it. See, like, that's sweet. Well, that's uninspiring, but...
Well, yeah, why is fast food so much better in Japan?
That looks cool.
That's wild. All right.
Make McDonald's cool again.
Dbrand's Kill Switch 2 case has been under fire for having issues with Joy-Cons detaching when pressure is applied. Dbrand responded on Reddit with a lengthy post with a lot of focus on how the device is generally meant to be held. Uh-oh.
Executed.
They outlined that the issue stemmed from some manufacturing tolerances in the case for the Joy-Con controllers, and committed to dealing with any affected users. But the takeaway from Redditors who saw the post was, you guys did not just, you're holding it wrong us, did you? A couple days later, Dbrand issued a part 2 to their response. They condensed their longer response down to just 4 points and acknowledged the shortcomings of their previous response. Dbrand provided us something to read. We fucked up. Yeah, not us this time. It's not my controversy. Hashtag not my controversy.
It wasn't us.
Not only did we fuck up by not seeing this prior to shipping, but we fucked up by responding with 4,000 words that could have effectively been boiled down to, you're holding it wrong. Ultimately, debating the right or wrong way to hold a console is beside the point. Customers should be able to hold this thing however they want without the Joy-Cons detaching. After reading the feedback, it is clear that neither our response nor the conditional, if you're affected, solution was welcomed by the community. Since then, our engineering team has dug deep to find alternative solutions, come up with 2, and we have communicated this new plan. Everyone is getting a free replacement regardless of whether they're severely affected, haven't experienced the issue, have emailed us a dozen times, or have no clue about any of this. On July 10th, we'll know which of the 2 proposed new Joy-Con solutions is going to be viable. One is mass-producible and a real improvement over the current good but inconsistent version. The other is borderline impossible to mass-produce, but we're going to try anyway because it will result in a Joy-Con attachment that's truly flawless. In the end,
say that and not do it. That's so dangerous.
In the end, we remain committed to candor, responsiveness, and when we f something up, making sure we own it and getting customers the right product. You, on the other hand, remain short.
I like D-Brand. They're good stuff. They're good stuff.
Know what else is good stuff?
I still remember before we had this level of relationship with them. I remember one time at CES, I had filmed so many videos and I was mentally cooked. And I got to another D-Brand sponsorship, and I think it was my like 5th of the day or something. So instead of saying the ad read, I just said their name like 50 times. And the next day I was like, oh man, I like, probably shouldn't have done that. And then they saw it and were like, this is amazing. And I was like, whoop! All right, they're cool. Oh man.
Lordy. Microsoft doesn't want another CrowdStrike incident and is kicking antivirus out of the kernel. Windows is making big changes to cybersecurity, removing third-party security drivers from the kernel and running them instead in user space. Kernel space is the layer of the OS with the most privileges, allowing direct access to many hardware functions and resources, and antivirus software typically likes to have kernel access because it provides the ability to handle almost any malicious threat that may have wiggled its way into your system. The issue, though, is that kernel access can bring substantial stability issues. A faulty update that was pushed was what caused the CrowdStrike meltdown that actually impacted the world infrastructure. It was not good. This is why security experts recommend that Microsoft remove third-party driver access to the kernel. So in July, Microsoft will be launching a private preview of new features as part of their Windows Resiliency Initiative. This announcement comes with quotes from a variety of security partners singing the praises of the move. Notably, though, none of these companies have actually committed to moving their drivers out of the kernel at this time. It's worth noting that Microsoft tried to do this back with Windows Vista, but antivirus companies filed an antitrust complaint with the EU, and Microsoft backed down because it would have made it so only Microsoft can handle kernel-level security. Our discussion question, then, is what methods could Microsoft be taking, or what steps could Microsoft be taking to provide security software with the same abilities that they have without providing them kernel access? And I got to confess, I don't know enough about the inner workings of an operating system to even begin to speculate. Our other question is,
I don't know.
What does this mean for kernel-based anti-cheat software? And therefore, potentially, the year of the Linux desktop. Because that's a lot of the justification that I've heard for why they won't port their anti-cheat to Linux, is that they can't run at a kernel level, and Windows allows it. So if neither of them allow it...
And if that's true, what happens to cheating in video games?
So, okay, it sounds like you're ready to kind of both sides this a little bit. You clearly, as someone who's security-minded, do not want anything mucking around with the kernel of your operating system.
Yes.
However, as a gamer who likes to not be, 360 no-scoped through the map from the other side of a Tarkov raid or whatever, instance, what are they even called?
No, that was right.
Raid, nice, good.
Yeah. Correct terminology.
Appreciate what can be achieved through kernel-level monitoring of what's going on a system. Or in many cases not achieved, but is there a better-than-nothing argument to be made here?
I think we can't just give up on everything just for the sake of gaming. I also think that if we really do want to get away from... you can never completely get away from it, but if we want to try to get away from the incredibly rampant level that cheating in video games is currently at, like literally by far worse than ever, and there's a lot of evidence for this, I think we're going to have to... Funny enough, with the consoles like kind of exiting the world right now, I feel like we almost need to go back to console-like devices. I've said this on WAN Show before. It was a hot take back then. I still have it now. I think you're going to have something that's really locked down, and it has these types of like kernel level totally taken over, but I would want it separate from my PC because I wouldn't want that level of security, other people's security stuff on my PC. Or maybe it's a setup that you can do on your own computer.
I'll tell you what's a setup. You setting me up for our next topic. Announcements went up last week from Xbox President Sarah Bond and AMD Chair and CEO Dr. Lisa Su about AMD and Xbox's renewed partnership to co-engineer silicon for new Xbox hardware. This isn't that big of a surprise. AMD worked with Microsoft all the way back on the Xbox 360 as ATI at the time for the GPU, and then provided a custom APU for the Xbox One and Series lineups. It does, however, solidify the direction that the Xbox is taking for their hardware. Bond speaks about Xbox being a lineup across console, handheld, PC, cloud, and accessories, with both leaders emphasizing that backwards compatibility is a priority so you can continue to play your old games on new hardware. So does that change anything about what you said, where it seems like AMD and Microsoft are coming out and saying, hey, Xbox consoles are not going anywhere, and does that potentially validate sort of your take that there's going to be the PC gaming experience, which is going to just come with all the problems of not being able to have kernel level security, hardware level security? And would you consider an Xbox console if it offered a more PC-like experience, except that it was just games and locked the crap down?
Yeah, one of the problems there is there's absolutely cheaters on console. And like has been forever. I do think the barrier, at least right now, I would say is higher because
than PC.
Cheating on PC is literally like advertised in banner ads on YouTube. Like cheating on PC doesn't require anything anymore. When I was a kid, it was like you had to at least be like kind of script kiddie level.
Yeah.
But you could do it and it really wasn't that hard.
Yeah.
It was mostly like you had to be script kiddie level for the awareness more than anything, not the actual ability.
To not like nuke your computer in the process.
And to even like know what to look for and stuff like that. Now it's like advertised to you and it's like white glove service, and you pay like subscription models for the good ones. And like if you pay enough, there's people that will custom make one specifically for you to help you from getting banned. Like it is a many billions of dollars industry.
Billions?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Billions.
It's bad.
With a B.
I'm pretty darn sure. It's huge. There's people that pay subscriptions for cheats for games that are many hundreds of dollars, and those are not the custom tailored ones. There's like, it's a huge deal. There is a lot of really lame losers. It's crazy.
Luke wisdom tips
it's
here.
Crazy how many trash people there are. It's actually wild.
Wow. Parallelogram in Floatplane chat says people be paying $20 a day for cheats that I know of.
There's weekend passes. Like it's wild.
Is this a big part of what's driving how difficult it is to jump into a lobby and play online now?
In my opinion,
are there just so many cheaters?
There is an incredible amount. Like that Tarkov thing where they were like, there's kind of at least one in every lobby. After that, I started trying to look around. I was like, is this really a Tarkov issue? No. It's everywhere. I do think Tarkov could do way more. Okay, it's not quite the same thing. Yeah, but that's still a lot. I believe Tarkov could do a lot more. Adding replays would be huge, and they're not doing it, and I honestly think it's because people would see how bad the situation is. They have replays in Arena. They absolutely have the technology. They could do it, and they're just not doing it. Tarkov is worse than when that video came out. That's really debatable and extremely difficult to measure. But my point is that it's everywhere. This is not just a Tarkov issue. The problem is that the impact of it is extremely high in Tarkov. But it is literally everywhere. There's cheaters in Rocket League.
How do you... Wouldn't it be so obvious? I guess not. Like if you just like driving assists or like...
There's things like you can get the ball up on your hood, and then you can kind of like dribble it by keeping it on your car, and there's cheats that can... Yeah, somebody just said dribble scripts. Yeah, exactly. There's cheats that can do that like car shake for you. So you would just drive normally, and it would keep the ball on your hood for you. I believe there's other stuff as well, but that's the only one I know of because Sunless Khan had a video on it recently. It's everywhere. There are cheaters in Warzone casual. Yeah, they're not even necessarily playing competitive modes. Like, it's everywhere. If you're playing multiplayer games these days that are competitive, you're playing with cheaters.
Oh, but I have good news. This Monday, I attended a meeting at Surrey City Hall. It was the second reading of our temporary use permit for Whale Land. And we're good to go.
Oh, really? I got kind of the idea based on your body language, but it's nice to hear it officially.
We're in. We're in.
That's fantastic.
Surrey is down to clown, and I don't know if I'm supposed to announce it yet, but the first Whale Land, I have a date, and it will be before the end of this year. So Chase. Oh wait, I announced this. I actually talked about this on the live stream yesterday that we did, but a lot of you probably didn't watch that. Chase is literally working on it now, right now. Well, a few hours ago he was, before he left the office.
Too bad you can't get away from cheating lands.
What? I think that when the consequences are literally being escorted out of the building.
I don't really think that's happened at one of our lands, to be honest.
Give us time.
But it's very possible.
I would do it.
No.
You know I'd do it.
I don't mean that.
Oh, you mean cheating?
Yeah.
If we catch you, you will never set foot at a Whale Land again.
Can we have it in the thing that it's like name and shame?
I would just do it. I don't care. Who cares? I mean, we'll have filming notices as part of Whale Land. Like, you will consent to your likeness, etc.
WAN show banner of shame.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, that's rotation for all time.
No, because people want notoriety. No, they wouldn't get that. Absolutely not.
Linus is more experienced at this than I am.
No. But they would absolutely be shamed in person.
Oh yeah.
And it'd be awful. Oh yeah. Because I don't like you.
Yeah.
Like, it's that simple, man.
Yeah.
Not cool.
Yeah.
Not cool.
Yeah.
This is a friendly event. We're all friends here. You don't do that.
There's so many examples of streamers getting caught cheating. There's so many examples of people getting caught cheating at major tournaments by having cheats built into the tiny amount of memory on their mouse or whatever else. Just all these different ways. Wild. It's rough out there. So if there was a thing that offered at least a solid amount of reprieve, I'm not expecting literally anything to solve it at all. But if there's something that added a good amount of reprieve, I would go for it.
Last thing here is that Xbox President Sarah Bond also spoke about working closely with the Windows team to ensure that Windows is the #1 platform for gaming and not locked to a single store. I think we've talked a little bit about this when we spoke about the Xbox and ROG Ally collaboration product, but it's very clear the direction that Microsoft wants to go with, Xbox is any screen in your home, be it Windows or running Xbox operating system or running Tizen OS or whatever the case may be. That's their vision. This is cool. An Asus RTX 5090 back-to-front card connector seems to be able to do up to 1,900 watts without burning up. Tony Yu, Asus China's GM, showcased exactly what you can do with a different, peculiar power connector like the GC HPWR connector on the ROG Astral 5090 BTF. So you can actually, if you want to show your mouse on the power connector there, this new BTF card design has a detachable GC HPWR, allowing you to choose between it and a standard 12-volt high power connector, or 12-volt 2x6, I think is what we meant to put in the script. That's really cool. It allows you to use the card with a BTF motherboard if you have one, but also retain your resale value for the person who likely won't have a BTF motherboard who you want to sell it to when you're ready to upgrade. The GC HPWR connector was designed to handle 1,000 watts, but you used a chroma load tester with the connector at a constant 670 watts, plenty to power a standard RTX 5090, with it staying between 30 and 35 degrees Celsius. He pushed it to 1300 watts, which saw it increase to 38 degrees Celsius, still very comfortable. And as an extreme, the Chroma was turned up to 1900 watts, with the connector staying around 41 degrees Celsius, which is not bad. Not bad at all. Here we go. Here come the amps. Bring on the amps. Oh, I forgot his name, but I've met him. 1900 watts. Gorgeous. Great work. BTF
Gorgeous.
Needs to be a thing. Discussion question is cool, but I wouldn't want that much power running through my motherboard, which is fair enough. I mean, it's DC, so like the level, like I don't design PCBs for a living, but my understanding is that that would be less likely to cause interference than AC, obviously. But does just running that kind of power through your motherboard, if you have enough isolation between your power plane and your data planes, or man, it would depend kind of where it's coming from, where it's going to. Would that be the end of the world? Maybe not.
I know nothing about it. CatOS said usually fine. I wonder if they just had a hole and you could just
what we really need
the cable through it.
What we really need to do is just like, I can't believe that we've gone through so many iterations of updating the standard to like needing new connectors and basically needing to replace this stuff, and we haven't increased the voltage.
Tynan said it's fine, but it might get toasty.
Yeah,
which
there you go.
Is not fine.
Well, it can be fine. I like toast. Finally, Xbox app merging all game launchers? ? Recently, users in the Insiders Update program for Windows saw an update to the Xbox app. This update included combining other storefronts, Battle.net, Game Pass, Steam, into the same launcher in an attempt to improve the user experience. Ah, yes, the proliferation of standards. Users will also be able to see the different launcher options in the Xbox app so they know if they are launching a game from Steam or another platform. Steam is the first and only storefront they have right now, but Microsoft confirms this is just the beginning, hoping to add many launchers to the app, though no promise that you won't need to install those dedicated launchers still for the game to open.
Yeah, you definitely will.
Discussion question. Do you prefer one store that tries to combine launchers or several launchers that are consistent with themselves and are clearer about where you are? I just want everything to run on Steam.
If you, if it didn't require the launchers, you could have already done it through Steam, and you've been able to do it that way through Steam. I don't want to say forever, because that's not true, but for a very long time.
Yep. And like I like when I buy a game on Steam and it's like an Origin game, but I open the game and it just like shows a quick Origin thing and then it like goes away and then Steam is just there. And the game is there. And then I close it, and it's like Origin something. I don't know, bye, forget it. And I go back to big picture.
Is it even still called Origin?
I don't know. Who cares?
Me? Yeah,
I don't need to know.
Yeah. Cool.
Linus, aren't we against monopolies? Asks M9 and G27. I love Steam, but we are against monopolies, but Valve is not a monopoly.
Yeah, not at all, actually.
Valve has real competition.
They're just clearly the best one.
Yes. Good luck, Tim Sweeney! To the Sweeney Copter! Epic Games!
Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah. House Fresh is done. This one is done.
Hey, now be nice to Tim Sweeney, says Jamesh. I think he'll be all right. I don't think Tim Sweeney cares what I think.
No, are we done? Who got mad when you said something wrong at one point?
Tim Sweeney.
PlayStation? That was him?
No. Well, okay, yes.
For the PlayStation, that was him though.
Yeah.
Well, so he cares.
Yeah. I was being nice.
I'm just clarifying.
I was just being nice. I was being nice.
Okay.
I'm nice. What?
Yeah, he's a juggalo. Of course he's
I'm nice. Everybody likes me.
Or they're wrong.
Yeah. All right, hit me up, Dan.
Is it time for After Dark?
I think.
By the way, if you didn't migrate from Origin to EA app, you lose stuff. It's probably fine.
Lose what?
Yeah.
Lose my copy of Battlefield 2?
Have I
talking about?
Told the story on WAN Show about how I used to share my Origin account?
Yes.
With the Russian hacker guy.
Oh, that's sweet of you.
I'm going to download the EA app right now, and I'm going to log into it to see if I even still have an account.
There you go.
Get threat lockered.
So I used to, some definitely Russian dude. He would steal my Origin account and play games. But I didn't really care because I very rarely used it.
I can't install it because
I'm getting in there right now. I'm getting in there right now.
I can't install the thing.
Just give me 2 seconds. Please request admin. I was already logging in.
Request admin? You mean log in as administrator?
No,
Send
I don't even know what it is.
Send request.
Come as fast as I can.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing that ThreatLocker is installed on my work machine. That is a good thing.
It's not installed on all your work machines anymore.
You shouldn't tell the people that. Now I'm an attack vector.
Well, no, it is technically it is.
Now
installed.
look what you've
no,
done.
It is installed, and I'm not actually pulling that back. It is installed.
So much for being C-suite, Linus. Pfft. I mean, C-suites can be hacked. If anything, they're the best targets. Do some of that whaling.
Yeah. But yeah, he would take my account and I wouldn't care, and then many months later I would suddenly care because I have to play something, and he had the password, I had the secret question. So instead of resetting the password, I would just you were able to log in with the secret question somehow or something. I don't remember exactly what. So I would get in and play my game for a while, and he would leave me alone for like a while. And then I guess he just checked like a month later or something, and then he would take it back and keep playing. And I thought it was funny, so I just never fixed the problem. I don't remember all the details, but it's something like that. And
I remember you telling me about this. This was back in like the Langley House days.
Yeah, this is a long time ago. And he added games to the account. So there was like Football Manager and like all this other random stuff. I was like, what are you doing? Like, why would you do that on my account? But then I just still never cared. I think eventually I was trying to play something and he kept booting me out over and over again. So I was like, all right, we're done now. And I officially finally fixed it. But
did it start installing?
Oh, you can now run this application. Run now. All right, let's see.
It was fun for a while.
Let's see if we can do this.
Maybe he has your Reddit credentials.
Just being kind online.
That's a good reference.
Anyway, we can move on to our next thing for now.
We don't have one.
Yeah,
just merch messages.
It's after dark. Let's go.
Yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. Should we do super dark mode? Because of the glow?
Sure.
Oh.
Probably won't be able to see anything. Can we see it for a second?
We can see it for a second.
Okay.
Yeah, give me 1 sec.
This physical button? I can do it.
I got it.
No, Dan's got the control.
But he's actually
He's producer Dan.
Yeah, but
how dare you disrespect him like that?
Wait, it's not glowing. Oh, these.
Jesus, you're needy.
Yeah. Doing it for the audience. Oh. What now?
Light, Dan.
That one.
It's not going to have any glow left by the time we actually get it.
Yeah.
Oh, Windows cannot access the specified device path or file.
Wait, where's he going?
I can't install EA app.
Oh.
He's cooking. Let him cook. Oh, launch the app. It says it's already installed now.
Seems like
I don't think I can launch it.
Seems like a you problem.
You seem like a me problem.
Sometimes.
Got him. Oh, hold on. Oh, yeah, no. She's working. She's working. She's cooking.
There we go.
Okay. Keep me signed in. Okay.
You know that?
My username?
Yeah.
Yeah, why would I not know my username? It's just my email.
Oh. I don't know my username for Origin, but I guess it's just my email. It's probably fine.
Yeah, it's too late.
Yeah, it's too late.
We can't see our glowing table anymore because it's not charged anymore. Also, I don't think it's dark enough.
Maybe the purple light is the problem?
Yeah, the purple is the problem.
Oh, but they can't see it.
Yeah, no, I can see it glowing, but they definitely can't see that. We could turn the lights back on, I think.
They can kind of see it.
This has gotten awkward at this point.
They can see me.
I mean, yeah, here.
Why am I visible and not you?
Maybe you're whiter than me? Oh, you have a white screen on your computer.
Oh.
So if we...
Goodbye.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Okay, there you go. Okay, they can see it now. Okay, thank you, Dan. That was wonderful. Yeah,
It was.
well, debatable, but sure.
Yeah, no, it was. What, you think they didn't enjoy it?
Well, I don't know.
It's like the whole point of the show.
Is it though?
For them to enjoy
Is
something.
it though?
Yeah.
Okay, WAN Show After Dark. Here we go. Here's the games that... Time to flashbang them. Here's the games that I own on EA app.
Sure, Dan. Yeah. Whoa!
Ooh, ouch.
Whoa!
I have free-to-play games, Apex Legends, and The Sims 4.
Nice.
I think. Oh, no, add to your library. So I don't have these, I guess.
Okay.
My library includes such hits as Battlefield 3.
Nice.
Battlefield 4.
Nice.
Battlefield Bad Company 2.
Nice. So you stopped playing Battlefield at the correct time.
I never played Battlefield. This is for
Oh.
benchmarking.
Oh. That makes
Stop benchmarking Battlefield at the right time.
Yeah.
Crusader No Remorse, a game that I have been meaning to play since I was like 9. Crisis 3. Dragon Age Inquisition. It Takes Two, which I actually own through Steam. Whatever this is.
Nox, dude. Nox is sick. Super old school RPG.
Plants vs. Zombies, Garden Wars 2, which I only own because of a Make-A-Wish thing where they wanted to play this, and I was like, okay, I'll buy this game.
Surprisingly cool.
Yeah, it's actually pretty fun. Battlefront, Titanfall 2, which is because of you, but also just through Steam, and Unravel 2, which I actually just played with my wife, and we enjoyed it. It was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, the story was, I didn't really understand, but apparently you're not supposed to. So that's cool. Okay, hit me, Dan.
Sure, I've got a few here. Hello, Winus, Wook, and Wan. Linus, have you seen the live-action version yet? And what are your thoughts?
What?
The live-action version.
Not yet. I'm actively stressed about seeing it.
The live
Dragon
action
show.
How to Train Your Dragon 1 is the perfect movie. It is better than any other movie, except maybe The Incredibles. And I don't know. There's plenty of movies I love, but How to Train Your Dragon 1 is a perfect movie. Chat says it seems pretty good. Elijah said it was pretty mid. I don't know, man. I don't know. You loved it. Okay, that's something. But why do a live action? See, that's the question. It was already perfect. I would have rather they just did like a remaster with new textures and HDR lighting. You know?
I agree. I don't like live action remakes.
Not even live action.
Like, that's the thing. The main character is still CGI.
I was seriously wronged with the release of the Warcraft movie. That was a crime against me in particular. And then all of Hollywood decided that they were going to release worse versions of childhood classics by taking one of the most charming aspects about them and making them quote-unquote live action.
Okay, Livin in chat, is that Reese?
Oh.
Is Livin Reese? No, Reese is Dirt Wizard. Hold on. Livin is
Pankrats.
Pankrats, that's right. Okay, if I thought it was Reese, and I was going to be like, okay, because Reese and I are pretty aligned on movie taste so far, from what I've seen so far. He agrees The Breakfast Club is actual unmitigated disaster. But Livin, Pankrats, I don't know how aligned we are on movie taste yet. I'm not saying your taste is bad. I'm just saying that maybe I just don't know yet. I don't know yet.
Make sure that you're agreeing with the narcissist, or you might lose your job.
Oh, stop! Speaking of which,
Really not a problem for me.
movie night last Friday.
Yeah?
What do you guys think? Last Action Hero?
It was very good.
I was way more surprised than I was expecting to be.
I actually wasn't surprised, and I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, no, that was sick.
Binky Draw says the Dungeons and Dragons movie was awesome, though, and I agree. It was very good.
I actually really enjoyed it.
It really deserves a lot more than it got, and I'm very sad that people didn't realize how good that movie was, because it might not get another one, and that would be very sad.
It wasn't super polished, but it was exactly what it was supposed to be.
Yes.
It was so self-aware.
Yeah, it was great. And it was self-aware very appropriately, because it was still a good story, still a good character,
Yes.
despite being self-aware.
And that's what I loved about Last Action Hero.
What was the
It knows exactly what it's doing.
The other one you were talking about?
Dungeons and Dragons?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was very good.
So Last Action Hero is both an action movie and also a spoof of everything that made especially 80s action movies kind of cringeworthy and unbearable. So it does everything that they do to the nth degree, while also straight-faced being an action movie. I love it. And I hadn't even remembered the celebrity cameos at the end. It had everybody. It had Bill freaking Murray in it. Dude, the scene when Maria Shriver gives Arnold Schwarzenegger, the actor playing himself instead of Arnold Schwarzenegger playing the action hero guy, she gives him crap about talking about it, promoting his stupid restaurants on the red carpet. It's so meta, it's so good.
It was really good. It was fantastic. I enjoyed it a lot.
Anywho,
more.
Yeah, so I will see How to Train Your Dragon. But I'll probably... I don't think I'm going to bother in the theater. I think I'll wait and I'll watch it in my theater at home.
Watch it on your phone, just to give it an extra one.
No.
It's like a guarantee. You're making it lose.
Yeah.
I did that
it.
with Gladiator 2. I watched it on a plane on purpose. And I was like,
just
I'm not going to like
disrespect
this.
it.
I'm not going to like this. And then I hate watched the whole thing and got to the end and was just mad.
Yeah, I watched that at home and was incredibly upset.
I loved Gladiator 1 so much. And
that was an incredible disaster.
Bimmy Zoontown says load it on an iPod video and watch it there. Yikes.
Yeah, Kindle.
Yikes. Okay.
Hey, LLD, would you consider doing other transparent products, such as a transparent backpack for security checks? And how long did it take to prototype the transparent dress?
3 years. So we're interested in other transparent products, but I can pretty much promise you that we're not making Pris's raincoat from Blade Runner in backpack form. I can't think of a material that would be clear enough to really see through, but also robust enough for us to be confident making a backpack with it. So,
right?
Well, it's rigid though.
Yeah.
Would you really want a rigid backpack?
Plenty of them.
You put cats in them.
They're definitely a thing. They are a thing. Isn't that Fjallraven backpack fairly rigid, and that was incredibly popular for many years?
Oh, hi, Josh says you literally ride a motorcycle. Okay, all right.
Okay, it's not
I guess you can
completely
strap a
rigid.
luggage to your back if you really want to, but we have so much work to do, continuing to innovate in like soft goods backpacks that I don't know that I'm ready to just completely change gears and go into an entirely new product category. So no promises for now. Oh, Frey says, do you know why Last Action Hero was a flop? It opened the same week as Jurassic Park. Oh my god. That makes so much more sense, because we were talking about this after.
It did make money.
Yeah, but barely.
Barely.
And when you look
and nobody remembers it.
Yeah, it was an $80 million budget for a movie that did like 150 mil total.
And Jurassic Park was groundbreaking.
Yeah.
From special effects and artistry and just so good.
Apparently the marketing was also just a total disaster as well.
Pancrat said it's just like Titanfall 2 in that. Oh man.
Oh no, don't get
me go through that.
No.
That's funny. Oh no.
Oh no. Hey, I played it. I bought it. I played it. Titanfall 2 was great. The single player is actually outstanding.
Best single player shooter I've played since I was a wee child.
My biggest complaint is that you don't get to enjoy the super amazing, cool, fun gimmicks for long enough.
But that's one of the reasons why it's so good. Yeah.
Leave them wanting more.
Yeah.
All of it's perfect.
Yeah.
It'll always be perfect. How is your Home Assistant integrations going? Would love to know what works well and what doesn't. What's that one automation that you can't live without?
Not gonna lie, Jake and I were brainstorming a way to make fixing my house into content today. And we came up with a list of all the stuff about my smart house that's just kind of stupid and doesn't work, or was poorly designed or implemented in the first place, or we just never really finished because we got the video done, got it to like minimum viable product, works as a demo point, and then just left it there. So I think it's actually going to be a series. Video 1 will be us going through and going, oh yeah, that.
What's rough?
Yeah.
Current state.
And then we're gonna go like full automotive channel style, and we're just gonna have a piece of cardboard that we're gonna write all the problems on, and then over the series of a bunch of videos going forward, we're gonna cross them out.
Cool. I like that.
Yeah,
that sounds cool.
That's a great idea.
We stopped doing series and like multi-part content.
Oh, this is interesting. P-Ball says, fun fact, the animated Anastasia movie did worse because Disney re-released The Little Mermaid in theaters at the same time. I wouldn't put it above Disney to pull a move like that. I don't know if that's true, that's allegedly, but I wouldn't put that past Disney.
My lady ruined her own proposal. Should I redo it? If so, should I choose a new location?
If it's ruined, you should redo it. As someone whose proposal was ruined, not by the lady, but by myself, I can tell you from experience that you will never hear the end of it. You might not hear about it often, and it might be in good humor, you know. But she will remember it, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, till death do you part. So, yeah, I'd probably redo it. If I were you.
Cheers, guys. Loved the video on MBX Mark II for your home systems. How often do you find both change cases as part of an upgrade new builds versus reusing or favorite sentimental cases? Sorry, this is a little this is a little hard to parse.
How often do you change your case when you upgrade versus reusing a favorite or sentimental case?
My situation is not really fair for this. I have kept the case. Yeah, I've advised a lot of other people to keep their cases. And in builds that I've kind of like worked on, I've kept the case. For me, it's like not really fair because of our deal that seems to come with cases.
Yeah, he gets new computers in perpetuity, I guess.
Yeah,
it doesn't say how often.
You offered it.
I could do nothing.
No,
for 45 years.
There is part of the clause.
Is there?
Yeah.
How often do I have to do it?
It's not a timing thing, but it's a keeping it in pace with yours. Yeah, it's not supposed to be the same. You were just that narcissistic back then. But it's supposed to be like, you know, reasonably within range.
That makes sense.
I don't remember the exact wording, but yeah, it
out.
had something. It was
what do you
something
have
like that.
now?
A
You
4080.
have a 4080. Oh, you're good then.
I'm not complaining.
I think you have a better computer than me right now then.
Maybe. I'm not complaining.
I have a 7900 XTX. Probably about on par. Pretty darn close.
Pretty similar.
Yeah, yours is better in ray tracing, which I don't think you use anyways.
Nope.
Cool.
Yeah. Not complaining.
As for me, I have changed my case very few times. I had an Antec Landboy. That was my first custom computer case with the Smart Blue 350 watt power supply. So that's what I had. I upgraded that to an Antec P160. I got the NCIX didn't carry the P160W, but they did carry the windowed side panel replacement. So I had an extra non-windowed side panel. It was a really cool windowed side panel. Instead of being flat, it had these like I don't know, these like ovals in it. Here we go. I don't know. They were kind of cool. They were like stylish indent things, and like the locks for the side panel were indented into it, so you couldn't just like put a window on the regular case. You had to get the stock window. It looked really sick. So I had one of these. I swapped out the LED color in the front. So mine, instead of having blue LEDs lighting up these little front mirrored bits, I swapped them out for green. I had a cool AMD Inside UV Reactive logo in the bottom. I rattle can sprayed the inside black. what other modifications? I had a fan controller in the front. I think that's most of it. I had a cool UV green transparent acrylic cover for my power supply, and then I had UV green sleeving for my power supply back when I had this build. Anyway, from there I think I went straight to the TJ07. Yvonne bought that for me. That's how you know she's a keeper. She gets you like a sick computer case. And then I still have that. I kind of still want to do a build in it one of these days, and doing that unboxing of the murder box made me want to do it even more.
Heck?
Yeah, that was the thing.
I was walking through the lab and was like,
3 pallets of murder boxes. I mean, MBX2 or whatever, whatever they ended up calling them.
Wicked kids.
They're the TJ07, but refined, perfected, you might say. And then from my TJ07, I went to my rack mount case, which I have, like, for like tech influencer or whatever, I have kept for an awfully long time without making anything other than like slight quality of life modifications to. I love it. It's perfect. My computer sits in my rack. I never look at it or think about it other than when it's broken. And maybe that's, I don't know, maybe that's kind of lame. I do want to do a really nice build for the theater room.
You need something for the theater room.
And I want it to be like dead quiet. Like silent.
Yes.
Maybe even silent and deadly. Oh, yes. One thing I kind of...
One button is a power button. The other button ejects a knife.
I mean, why a knife?
A chin
you can only
knife.
kill one person with a knife. If it ejected a grenade, that would...
sort of true. Okay.
And the
Pinprick
knife
hold?
has mustard gas in the handle.
Ooh, I like.
The floor is made of bleach, and the knife has ammonia.
Okay, all right. So why don't we move on to our next merch message?
Good. It's easy to get you guys to move on. Hey guys, I'm an injection molding technician, and I thoroughly enjoy all of the BTS molding content. How much did the molder do, and how much of your team? How much did you learn personally?
I learned basically what was in Kyle's video, that we had to open the gate and do more simulation to make sure that it flows through the mold like this instead of going around things and then meeting and making those ugly lines. I learned about the different properties of plastics, and some cool faster and some cool longer when they're flowing through the mold or stick to the mold or whatever else. That's about it. Like I didn't do any simulations or anything. As for what our team has learned, I will say that some of it was handled by the molder, but it was definitely a collaborative process. I pretty much promise you that those simulations that we showed in the video were ones that our team was running. We've learned a lot about plastic injection molding over the last few years.
Here goes a new impulse buy. Did you need to add any anti-yellowing countermeasures, or is that not an issue for this type of plastic?
I'm not aware of that being an issue for Triton.
I don't think it's a problem for Triton. Looking at, especially like, okay, so a very well-known brand that uses Triton. Nalgene. Their water bottles, water bottles, these days a lot of people use them inside, but for a long time they were like largely outdoor or indoor sports facility type things.
That's true. Water bottle culture has changed a lot.
Dramatically changed.
I didn't even really think about that.
But they did go outside a lot, and Nalgene bottles never really changed color. Nalgene are usually blue for a reason. That's an interesting point. But
who the devil is this? Who are you, number 317 Anonymous, with your $10 gift card purchase? Go ahead, Dan. You can read it.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
It's very mean.
Is it?
Maybe. Linus, also known as Moo the Cow.
How do you know that?
Oh, this is the thing.
That's my OG Hotmail account.
Damn.
Moo_the_cow at hotmail.com. I don't have that email address anymore. Don't bother emailing it, but that was my original. Like when I went to Camp Squia for Bible camp, that was the email that I gave to my fellow attendees so they could stay in touch.
Is you said Anonymous 13?
317 is the order number.
Oh, not the name that they put in.
No. Sorry, carry on.
Damn. Do you find the existence or lack of your beard to have any effect on your viewership? And do you still have plans taking your name out of the branding of your company?
I don't know. I think we're kind of experimenting right now. I'm actually not quite done painting my bike. I have put
you
one.
Shave it back off?
Maybe. I put one coat of clear coat on the gas tank, and then I made the mistake. Okay, this is why Jake Tivey drives me nuts, because he was like, "No, you should sand it. You know, like fine sand it." And I was like, "No, I'm not going to bother. I don't care if there's a little bit of orange peel. I want this project done." He was like, "Yeah, you should do it." And then I did the first coat of clear coat on the gas tank, and there was like a little something, like a little fluff got caught in it. And I could have sprayed it again and maybe like gotten that bit out, but probably not. I probably would have scuffed the finish, so I was going to have to do another coat anyway. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just leave it with the one coat, and then I'll get the little bit out, and then I'll blast the second coat, and then it'll all be consistent. I won't have the little like fluff or the little nib in it. Anyway, as I was getting out the nib, I was like, it wouldn't really hurt if I'm 1,000 grit. I can't really damage anything too badly. I'll give it like kind of a once over, and it looks so much better. But now I'm thinking, I've only delivered the wheels, the frame, and the subframe, none of which I think stand out that much once the bike is assembled. It's going to be the fairing, it's going to be the tail, it's going to be the gas tank that are really going to stand out. So I still have all those pieces. Technically, they haven't started reassembly yet. So technically, I could sand everything, fine grit sand everything.
Do you know when they're going to start?
Blast it again and polish it.
Do you have like this weekend and then that's it?
I don't know. But I did 1,000 grit the gas tank, but I don't want to get in there with 2,000, 5,000 grit. I don't have time for that. Yes, I know it looks better wet sanded. Yes, it's worth it. It's worth it. Anyway, so if that's the case, I'm gonna have to do a fair bit more clear coating. If it was just gonna be hitting the gas tank once, then I was just gonna put on the mask and breathe as little as I can and not bother. But if I'm gonna be clear coating the entire rest of the bike again, I'm probably gonna have to shave the beard. So we'll see. Maybe I'll keep a mustache for 1 week. It'd be horrible, dude.
It would be bad.
It would be horrible on me. Anyway, okay.
I'm trying. I can't even. I feel like I can't even imagine it.
Still plan to take my name out of the branding of the company eventually. Yes, that is still the goal.
Don't think about it, Luke.
I kind of want to think.
Close your mind's eye.
I feel like I can imagine myself with one easier than I can imagine you with one.
Nope, it's gross. Nope, I don't like it. You have to do it. Hello from Tampa, returning from Saudi Arabia.
We could both do it for Movember.
Nope.
All right.
Do it now. Look at my razors. Hello from Tampa. Returning from Saudi Arabia. 3 security agents spent 30 minutes inspecting my mini ITX build from my carry-on. What are some challenges you've faced with equipment at airports?
The biggest one is the carnet. It's this stupid piece of paper that I think it's Canadian Customs insists on, or is it you? I can't remember. Someone insists on us having this stupid piece of paper that we bring to the airport and write down the serial numbers of all the camera filming equipment that we bring with us. And then when we come back, we have to show them the carnet and that this is all equipment that we took with us in the first place, that we're not importing it. But it's just a piece of paper. There's no tracking. There's no validation, and many of the agents don't even know about it. So it's just a matter of if you get the one that cares, then they'll hassle you about all the gear that you're taking over there, even though you're clearly a professional video equipment person. You don't even have more than one of the same thing. You're obviously not an importer. It's just a big waste of time. It means our camera ops have to show up at the airport an hour, sometimes an hour and a half earlier. It's just so obnoxious.
It's not an airplane, but I'm going to tell the story anyways because it's probably been a long time. But one time I had to, for reasons, transport my mineral oil computer from Vancouver Island to back home. And I didn't have a car on the island, so I had to bring it onto a bus. So I had to hand carry on a wooden plank my mineral oil computer that had, like, at the time, fish plants in it and stuff, but also just computer parts and cables and all this wacky stuff.
Absolute genius.
And the bus driver absolutely did not want to let me on the bus because he thought it was a bomb. And I got on the bus, but I don't remember how. I don't know if he just eventually kind of gave up and let me or what. I don't remember at this point. But yeah, I got it on the bus eventually and I got it home. But I mean, then I had to take it on the ferry and then all this kind of stuff, and it got some looks. I was probably heavy as hell. It wasn't light. It wasn't particularly light. Part of the spoiler of the story is that it didn't exactly have oil in it at that point in time, or at least not a lot. But the oil was soaked into the wooden plank, and I was carrying a computer on a plank for like
plus the aquarium factor,
many hours. Yeah,
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Howdy LDL from Texas. Love the screwdriver and buying one for my dad. Question: AI makes call scams harder to detect. How can we verify who we're speaking to? Maybe encryption keys or back to the old safe words.
Safe words.
Safe words, and just don't.
That's the one.
Don't do anything when people call you.
Yeah, you can always call people back.
Look up their number and call them back.
Don't forget they could be SIM jacked. So even calling them back.
Oh no! Don't
it's not
call
100%.
their direct number back. Just don't. Like if your bank calls you or something like that.
Oh, I was talking like a loved one, because you couldn't have a safe word with your
Oh.
bank. I think they're talking about.
Yeah.
Like if your wife calls you saying she's held ransom or
rich
whatever.
enough. I'm sure you could.
Call who?
I'm sure for the company bank account you could have a safe word, to be honest.
I don't know. You'd be surprised how inflexible like policy is at places. Like we're again, this comes down to that whole age-old debate: is Linus Media Group a big company?
Yeah.
In the scheme of, like, would banks just like have a special policy for us? No.
It's funny because there are some that would, little tiny credit unions, but like not big boy banks.
But that's our issue. Is we're big enough that there's no way we could engage reasonably with a bank like that, simply because they wouldn't deal in enough currencies for us. We deal in GBP, Euro, CAD, USD, at least, and there's probably some. Oh yeah, no, we definitely have
yen, Australian dollar.
Yeah, we have Chinese yuan as well.
Swedish krona.
We deal in all these different currencies, so
no idea.
We absolutely have to deal with like a mega bank. Just because of all the different income streams that are coming from like Amazon affiliate Australia or whatever, right? I don't even know if that's a thing, but that's an example of the kind of reason that we might have some international currency coming in. And, but we are not big enough for any organization like that to give two shits and a limp dick about us. So
two separate trips or like one?
So we're in this.
There are three people.
So we're just, I don't know. We're in like a weird middle ground, and I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that there have been times that it's been challenging. Like I remember when I wasn't able to borrow, like literally a few